Hello. Oh, are we close? I haven't really checked, I haven't really looked at stuff for the past few days. Kind of been taking a break. I'm just back now because there's a few days of finnegan left. Let me turn my volume down. I can't handle all of the different pings. I'm just doing the visitor things, and I need Cocoa Bean for the current one. Yeah, Scorpius is winning because Special Mirror, they always win. Overgrown grass? Actually I haven't gotten any because my farming level is not that high. It's like one of the few skills that I haven't really finished maxing yet. My farming, yeah, it's pretty good. I'm almost there until I can use fermento. Mining, I need to finish up. I'll do that next coal. But yeah, combat's max, foraging, not touching until the update. Fishing is done, enchanting's done, alchemy's done. Yeah, so it's just farming, mining, and foraging that I have left to do. Yeah, I get that. The thing is, like, mining, it's not too bad. It's like if you just grind commissions during coal, then you can make some decent progress. It is definitely like tedious though, like breaking all those blocks, especially if you don't have like that high like mining speed or anything. But for mining, I will recommend like powder grinding for a bit, so you can have enough mithril powder and everything to upgrade your mining speed. Yeah, farming's definitely slow, but good thing they added the garden. I hated farming for this. Like, I have a sugarcane farm on my island from before the garden was the thing, but even that I found like really boring. Oh. I haven't gotten any overgrown grass, but I got a few fermento. Yeah, people randomly join in and leave. I was planning to eventually just like watch a video while I do this. Just see like random stuff on YouTube. Yeah, I only have one monitor too, but I'm just gonna like pop it out and then like just put it in the corner to watch. Alright, I think it's time. It's time to rebind my break button. Alright, now I can just use one hand to do this. This is what like I was doing yesterday too. While I was like, I finished building the farm and I was like testing out a few of them. I'm part of Skyblock Maniacs. You can, if you meet the Rex, you can. It's not my guild, but if you join the Discord server SPM, you can check the requirements. They have a bunch of different guilds. There's like 3 guilds, so we have Maniacs, Mayhem, and Mania. I think for Maniacs it's level 240 plus and 12,000 Senator weight. And then the other 2 have like lower Rex. I think Mania has the lowest Rex, then second is Mayhem, and then the highest one is Maniacs. I'm not sure what the Rex are for the like lower guilds. I don't know what Mania's Rex are, but you can check again like in the Discord server. It's like one of the channels somewhere. I don't really talk much in that though. I'm just like part of the guild because a bunch of my friends are in this. But yeah, you can check some of the Rex for the other guilds and you might be able to get into those. What do you mean prestige? Like the colors for the levels? Oh, divine light blue one? Yeah, that's 280. I don't really like the red colors. I think anything past like 200 and up, so like once you get to gold, I think all of those colors look nice, but I don't really like the red ones. I mean, like it goes by the rarity of like items in Skyblock, but I like the gold one, the pinkish one that I have right now, and the next one, divine. Like red, yeah, like you're high level, but still, I don't really like that color. I'm not sure what exactly they're going to do for those other colors, because they kind of use like all of the item rarities already. It goes all the way from common to special and very special. So, I don't know. I don't think anyone is there yet though. I think the highest are like 380 something. But no one's like, they have to do like so much bestiary milestones to get to level 400 now. Until they add like new stuff into the game. Maybe. They had a few quality of life features released on alpha recently that they were showing off. Nothing really big, but it's just a few things like being able to join Kudra in dungeons like by yourself, or being able to like instantly re-queue into a dungeon instead of like having to run the command or going back to dungeon hub, which is pretty nice. I don't know how that's going to like affect the fragbot servers and stuff though, because once they roll that update out, you don't need like party members to enter dungeons anymore. I think they also had a cool thing on alpha where it's kind of like if you're using Soupy, if you type the like bracket hand and then bracket, like other Soupy users can see like what you're holding in your hand when you do that. And they kind of added that to alpha. It's like a command that can show. Yeah. I mean, that's what the update is kind of here for. It's like dungeons in Kudra, you'll be able to do it like, without really a full party or stuff like that. You can kind of just like enter solo and keep re-queuing. Do we get to it? Oh, we finally finished. I hate the enchanted golden carrots because you can't put them into compactor. No. Melons. I might have another word. Cactus. Yep. And melons box. My playtime, I think it's a bit over 2,000 right now. Yeah, 2,100. It's just like this is the most efficient way, I guess. It's like this way, you're able to, you know, break all three kind of like perfectly. I mean, like, you don't have to. It's just, yeah, like more optimized if you do it like this. So like the melon and the pumpkins, it's like both like this, and then a bunch of like the other crops like wheat, carrot, potato, and netherwort. You set your speed to 93, and then you just like go in a straight line. No. I don't remember how this started. I think what is it? I think I did it as a joke, like maybe a year ago or something. It was like, it was all like Skyblock related, but it's like how many people could we trick in Hub or like Dungeon Hub or whatever and stuff. So yeah, and since then I've kind of just like kept it too lazy to like change that much really. Also, the guy skins are like kind of bad. It's like, I don't know. I'm thinking of like the ones you'd see on like people who get their very first Minecraft account at like if they're like 9 or something, and it's just like the most like generic whatever. Most generic like boring skins. So yeah, usually the female ones just look better. At one point I did, I don't know, I kind of swapped around. At one point I had like a giant hot dog as a skin. Yeah, the E-boy ones aren't that great. It's like, if you guys know the game like Pixel Gun or something like that, that's like what I imagine for like the guy skins. It's just like cringe, overrated, like cliche, overused, everything like that. How close are we to milestone? Nowhere close. I was supposed to be racing a friend to farming 40, or I don't even know what level, but we were just like racing farming. And he didn't even build his farms yet, so I guess I'm gonna be winning soon. Squash. I don't have squash armor right now. I have squash armor, so I can't drop squash with this. I can only drop fermento. Once you get fermento, you can drop like any of the previous ones, like crappie, squash, or fermento. And yeah, yeah. Usually farming melons would give you squash, but I don't have crappie or fermento, so I can't drop it. I'm wearing squash right now, so yeah. The only thing I can drop is fermento from like those crops. And the RNG drops that I'm getting right now, it's from using the melon dicer. You'll probably see me drop Fermento on stream if I do like those crops later, but until I get like 40, which I am like kind of close, I'm like 57% of the way. Once I get 40, I can like upgrade my stuff to Fermento, and then I'll be able to like drop like crappie, squash, and Fermento. Hello Sack, welcome back to chat. Yeah. Yeah. I don't know. I think they just kind of like wanted you to like focus, I guess, like on like upgrading to the next one. Because when you have melon armor, you can drop crappie from like the basic crops, and then once you get crappie armor, you can drop squash from, you know, slightly higher tier crops. Then once you make squash armor, they like just like focus you on fermento, which I guess is like, I don't know. Maybe they could have just like allowed you to get the previous ones, because it's not like, it's just weird. But oh well. Once I get fermento, I can drop all of them. Fermento, it's from, let's see, sugarcane, cacti, mushrooms, and netherwort. Once you're wearing either squash or fermento armor, you can farm those to get it. Yeah, legendary mushroom works and elephant also works. I'm not sure which one is cheaper, but both of those are pretty good. Mushroom gets better the more strength you have, and I think if you're starting off, then elephant will just like flat out give you more fortune. I'm just using mushroom right now because. Oh, was I not using mushroom? Oops. Oh well. Nah. Macroing's funny, but I'm not trying to get wiped. Grind, like, you know, farming levels, because each farming level gives you more fortune. Upgrade the, like, the crop upgrades in the garden as well. You can eat, like, century cakes on people's islands. Oh no way, second time. You can eat, like, the century cakes on people's islands, because one of the cakes gives you fortune as well. I don't know if I'll be able to make a living just like playing Skyblock. I'm not exactly sure if that's what I want to do, but for now it's like fun, so I'll just like make videos occasionally and stream. I already have Rev 9, but maybe. Who knows? I think next Aatrox though, I'm gonna like do the Vampire Slayers and Rift because I need to drop the Unfanged for Dentist Relic. If you're going for XP, then the best thing you can farm is like build like let me see if I can link it in the description. But there's a video with like basically the same farm that I'm using, like this mega farm. You can also like in game, their IGN is it's 23 lives. You can like go visit them. They have like a mega farm for all of it. But Mushroom gives the most like XP, and then that's pretty good. I think if you also visit, what's your name? Melon King D. He has like he's a really good farmer. If you go visit his garden, right, you can kind of see like the XP per hour on this. So yeah, crop. What is it? Let's see. Yeah, this is like XP per hour, and then this is money per hour. So visit their IGN is Melon King D. Actually, they're on their farm right now, but yeah, if you come visit them, you can see, and they did the math. So mushrooms will give you the most XP per hour, but if you're going for like money, then where is it? Which one's the highest? Is it this? 50. Apparently it's wheat, but I don't know how updated this is. Yeah, haven't dropped an Unfanged yet. Vampire Slayer is fun, but I'll just wait for Aatrox to do it, because I need to get the... what is it? I need to get the Bluetooth thing from Rift, and also the Unfanged. And then Tiny Dancer I'm not going to touch for now, just because it's just like so horrible. That is like actually a worse like waste of your time compared to just farming. That's not it. Melons, what do you want? Cookies and pumpkins. Okay, guess we're doing pumpkins next. I can't type. How many? 30. Yay, pumpkins. Alright, you know what? We're gonna do the... oh my god, we're gonna do the speedrunner strat. Gonna drop down my sense to get this perfect. Alright, and here we go. One tip for anyone who's farming: do not bind, or like don't just like break by holding down your mouse button. Please bind it to a key on your keyboard that you can easily press, so you can just like keep one hand on the keyboard and not, you know, get tired. Because while I was doing this off stream, I was like just scrolling on my phone and not even looking at screen. not sure. Hello. Okay, now I can see your messages again. Sure, Zach, send me a request. Yeah, you can send me requests. Damn. Good timing, Darks. Darks, are you in stream right now? Do you want to VC? Oh, okay. Increase garden level. You can do that. The milestones aren't that bad. Make sure you do the visitor quest. Unlocking plots also gives XP, but that that takes like compost to do. But yeah, make sure you get your.
Turn on the composter again because I saw.
Hello, Darks. Do you need me to upgrade? Because I have like copper.
I don't think we need. Do you want to upgrade? It's your choice. I mean, for now, it's cheap. If you want. How many copper you have?
2,500. Do I need to upgrade some copper yet?
Let me see which one.
I can upgrade it if we need.
Yeah, well, the first upgrades are good because like it's percentage based. So. It's like some guy in my guild is trying to get a T7 Claymore, but he's broke.
Mayhem?
Suit like.
Why don't you join Maniacs? Join Maniacs.
Thing is, I'm good so used to Mayhem. I'm just gonna chill here. It's fine.
Just join Maniacs. You have cooler people. Lexi always wants to do M3.
Yeah, I know. He even messaged in Mayhem Guildbridge.
A tip for compost, if you are patient enough, enchanted seeds are really good for the fuel meter. Did my god pot run out? Oh. Pumpkin, potatoes, carrots, meat and everywhere. Can't type. Wow, that is unfortunate. Alright, guess potatoes next. Carrots. You should keep the sacks because it's going to be really helpful soon. Your inventory is going to like fill up very quickly if you don't have the sacks. So you can keep it, and eventually you can upgrade it once you get your ruby collection high enough.
I'm back. Damn, that's a nice 400 mil going in the bank. We'll just take it.
Unfortunately, everyone's selling stuff, so Diana prices are horrible.
Did you sell your Paul stuff?
Yeah, most of my Paul stuff is gone.
Okay, okay.
Yeah, personal compactor is good, but you'll eventually want to have like the regular agronomy sack and then also the enchanted agronomy sack, because once it compacts it, the enchanted item goes into the like enchanted agronomy sack, and regular item goes into the regular sack. Wait, Dark, did you say we need composter upgrades?
Yeah, I did one of them so far.
Okay. Do any of them need copper?
They all need copper, yeah.
Okay. Let me just...
And yes, I think that which one should we go for? Should we go for speed, like the number of compost you get per harvest, or do you want to go for like how long you can run for, like as long as it
I
can?
don't really
Which one do
care.
you think?
Any of them work.
I mean, you have to choose like about balance, bro.
So, composter speed, 2 enchanted gold.
How about do like you know the composter speed? Do like up to 100%, I guess. Like 5 of them or 4 of
Alright.
them. Ooh, one Skyblock XP, bro.
Yay. 4 enchanted golden carrots.
W Riz.
Oh my god, you need so many. And 8.
Okay, got it to 5. Okay. Next one, you should get the fucking. Let's check the prices on this. It's still high. Oh, god damn. Get them more organic matter cap up a bit.
Up to 5?
If you can, yeah.
Do I have enchanted cactus?
So the organic matter, like, it uses up more than fuels. Like, you want to have that more than fuel cap.
Enchanted cookies.
Learned it the hard way. Mystery freezer, looks good, dude.
Good thing I have a lot of enchanted monkey shit to make these cookies.
Oh, really?
Uh, 4 enchanted cactus. Damn, why is cactus so expensive?
Because no one forms them.
Okay. Quartz, I think is quartz. You can run
How much
quartz.
copper do you have left?
I have 1,000 right now.
Just put it all in the multi-drop, I guess.
Okay.
The second, and it will be fine for me. That's
Quartz
fine.
you can get
Huh?
from
No,
eventually
no,
the
female.
Crimson Isle. Once you need combat, I think 22 to get into that, but Quartz is unlocked in the Crimson Isle. And once you get that, you can like get the
Suda,
minions to place them.
give me the hoe.
The what?
One of the hoes.
Okay. Hold up. Let me check what I have to farm next so I can give you the other one. What are you doing? Okay, melon and potato. Okay, I can give you the carrot hoe, the same one that you had yesterday. I hope that's the right one. Yeah. Are you claiming one of them? Okay. So you said put the rest into
Yeah,
multi-drop?
Yeah, multi-drop. Multi-drop's good.
Enchanted pumpkins. Good thing I did a lot. Oh, I had 900 enchanted pumpkins.
Lovely.
Multi-drop, baked potatoes. Okay, that's the thing I don't have, but I'll just buy from Bazaar right now.
Oh yeah, also Duke City is going away for 2 days. Oh, okay. Yeah. I'm alone.
Polished pumpkin.
And bro, it's rooted, loaded, green thumb too.
Yeah, I
Ah.
did some spending. And more enchanted baked potatoes. For all the minions, you have to unlock at least like collection level 1 to make the minions. Alright, cool. I have 100 copper left. Uh,
Who that? You invited him to your island in Notre Garden.
can you invite them to the garden?
I mean, he can't click on the garden thing.
Oh.
We're not gonna talk about how you use 2U1 million melon minions for money.
The melon minions? Yeah. Funny stuff.
What do you plan on doing with the compost? How would I use it?
I mean, what else do we do with compost besides like unlocking the other plots?
That's it.
use for other plots? I don't know. I guess like isn't compost kind of high right now? We can just sell them.
Kinda high, but so low.
Is it?
I miss the days when they're like 50, 60k per.
Okay, yeah, but don't they go up during Finnegan? Aren't people trying
Hard
to
to
unlock
know,
those?
dude.
We can just sell them for now. I don't really plan on like I don't really have a use for the other plots right now because like I have this farm and I can just do whatever.
Fair enough.
Eventually I'll unlock them for the XP, but I don't
Why
really.
is square so cheap? My spider pet sold. Woo.
Ooh, Andrew's on the garden.
Andrew Tate.
What does he want?
Cookies.
Oh.
Monkey shit. Maybe I'm a mean. I'm gonna craft some stuff and then come back here. I should get farming 60 before you on your own profile, right?
Huh?
Huh?
What? Just from pay to win?
No, no, we ain't paid away. No, it's
Like
normal
just buying
farming.
stuff from Bazaar and paying your way to farming 60.
Thing is, I would, but TV pads aren't a thing.
I'm already yawning.
I'm farming.
Yeah, I'm just so excited that Finnegan is mayor, you know?
Yeah, sure you are. That's totally the reason why you're yawning.
We're close. 600k XP away from 40, and then I can use Fermento. Is it worth getting the boots, or do I just use farmer, or like rancher boots the entire time?
No, rancher. It doesn't matter.
Yeah.
For what?
Like for Fermento, does it like matter to get the boots? I can just stick with the rangers, right? Okay. Well,
yeah, just take one.
Alright. I already have like one condensed Fermento just from farming, so for the armor set, that means I only need 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 more. But I still need to upgrade the thing to Fermento Artifact.
Oh, the fermented artifact. That'll be fun.
Everyone in the chat is just...
Is there a thing mossy or bustling?
Bustling.
It's got bustling.
I should really be watching the video like in the corner as I'm doing this. Finnegan is so fun. I'm enjoying this so much. It's like the best thing I could be doing with my time right now.
Totally.
What should I even watch on the side? Like movie recaps?
Side. Movie recap.
Yeah. Should I be reacting to someone else reacting to more reactions?
What?
Yeah, I'm gonna watch like XQC react to something.
Oh, well, yeah, you can, I guess. Watch Smosh.
The fuck?
Smosh.
Didn't they like
Watch
recently come back or something?
Yeah, exactly. Go watch it.
Yeah.
Twin.
Yeah.
Smoosh. Smoosh them together.
The good thing is I'm doing everything with just one hand. I like unbinded my like mouse buttons and just put them on random stuff on my keyboard that I don't use.
I wonder what else you do with one hand.
Scroll through my phone as I'm doing this. This is so easy. I beat Croy so badly. He's like one level higher, and here I am. He's still building his farms. I'm like done.
The buildings farms while I'm just no competition.
Exactly. Too good. Okay, I was worried that I was farming cane with my Wartho for a second, but no. Enchanted golden carrots, oh my god.
You'll be fine.
Yay. Alright, back to farming more cane. Oh, wrong pet. Alright, it's time to get a video on. Let's see. What can we watch?
Huh?
I'm trying to see what video I can watch. Let's go to YouTube. Let's see what I'm doing this on with like no account logged in, just to see what's interesting now. Here are some hilarious pets. How West Point makes over 13,000 meals a day. Nuclear warning. 20 incredible things caught on camera. Best of the month. 16 cool tool. France has fallen. Ooh. French Inferno. Riots blaze through France as experts blame fail. Okay, can you explain that? You're French, right?
I don't know. What?
There's French riots. Can you explain what's happening?
I don't fucking know. It's all about Russia, bro.
Is it?
I don't know. I'm not French enough to what's happening.
My
in
mom
France,
made
bro.
me DIY kitty phone. If we can move this equipment across the river, we get to keep it. Jeffy tries to grimace shake. Bugs in Mexico are different. Implosion Titan Ocean Gate, how it happened. The White House knows exactly where the cocaine came from. These are some interesting titles. 20,000-year-old man with tusk restoration. The life in Bhutan, the most isolated country in the world. Ooh, Tom and Jerry. You know what? Yeah, why not? Let's watch Tom and Jerry. Okay, wait, hold up. Why can't they hear it? Wait, why can't they see it?
Look. Hello. Spam for cash. Use. I'm getting cash from out of nowhere. Sudo, why are you broke? It's a very interesting topic. Why are you broke?
Why is it not showing up now?
Huh?
I'm like trying to share the video that I'm watching at the same time. Interesting. It was working yesterday. Why does it work now?
For the people who are on stream, you can sell squash for cash.
Oh, there we go.
If you visit
I figured
Sudo
it
when
out.
it's not stream time, he's gonna give you 1 mil, no matter what.
I have my island visits disabled.
Just fuck. It wasn't supposed to be part of the thing.
Okay, there we go. We're gonna be watching Tom and Jerry on the side.
The fuck? You have nothing better to do right
Yeah,
now?
I'm actually that bored.
Because it's Finnegan. There we go. Here's the main reason.
What do you mean? Finnegan's so exciting.
Yeah.
Yo,
So
shut up.
bored
I'm
you have
trying
to
to watch
watch
Tom and Jerry. This is such a good show when I was younger.
You know about the last episode?
What up? Have you seen the AI sponge stuff that's been popping up recently?
Yeah, Sponge.
AI sponge.
So I did a minor mistake of buying a couple purple candy.
Oh, hello. Welcome to this Tom and Jerry stream. Bro, it's Finnegan. Like, what do you expect me to do? Like, what else is there to do? Is this even a full episode, or is this just a compilation of clips? I want to watch, like, a full episode. Oh, it's a compilation. Okay, great. Well, on to the next. What is there? Tournament of Power HG Goku. Ryan's World. Oh no, not that.
Yeah, that's it. It's your brother, bro.
I'm not watching that. That's racist also.
It's your brother-in-law.
What's there? Oh, it's Hawking Tom. Why is Peppa Pig? Why is everything just cartoons now? This is horrible. Curious George, that's a good one. Ooh, what about Power Rangers? Actually, have you seen Lamino?
The what?
Lamino.
Just let me know.
Have you seen the thing about like Cicada 3301 or stuff?
I know who that is.
You've never seen that? That's so cool. Lamino makes like really good videos. Search for DB Cooper, extraordinary until proven otherwise. Consumed by the apocalypse. The enduring mystery of Jack the Ripper.
Just let me know.
Oh my god, this video is a whole hour long. What the fuck?
Ooh, we're in the artifacts, huh?
Is this safe to watch on stream?
No, copyright.
Bro, it's like a tiny corner of the screen.
Copyright doesn't matter, bro. Songs.
Bro, people
is,
react to shit all the time.
Yeah, but that's because they're actually like popular streamers that can actually like make them more money.
Trade, finance, and people. But in the autumn of 1888, an horrific story emerged from the capital's East End. a story so dreadful it sent shockwaves around the world. One after another, destitute women of the East End fell victim to a vicious killer known as Jack the Ripper. Despite an extensive manhunt and a few close calls, the Ripper was never caught.
No.
Instead, the murders came to an abrupt end and left behind one of the greatest mysteries in the annals of crime.
Let's probably be making cash.
In the East End of London, there's a
People
district
react
known
all the
as
time.
Whitechapel.
Don't worry, this will be fine.
In the late 19th century, Whitechapel was known for its overcrowded slums, where many of the capital's poor and unemployed had taken refuge. Day and night, an army of policemen would constantly patrol this labyrinthine network of dim-lit streets, courts, and alleys. One such place was a narrow passage known as George Yard. Near the north entrance of this passage was a residential complex known as George Yard Buildings. It was the morning of August the 7th, 1888, when an upstairs tenant named John Reeves headed out for work. Upon reaching the first floor landing, Reeves encountered the body of a woman lying upon her back in a pool of blood. Horrified by the sight, he stumbled down to the street below in search for help. Constable Thomas Barrett was the first officer on the scene. He was soon joined by Dr. Timothy Killeen, who conducted a brief examination. The woman had been stabbed 39 times, primarily in the chest and abdomen.
That is crazy.
Dr. Killeen estimated that she had been dead for, quote, about 3 hours, thus placing the time of death at approximately 2:30 in the morning. The woman had likely been attacked where she was found, as no blood was found beyond the staircase landing. But this was strange, as none of the tenants in this crowded building had heard a single cry for help or a disturbance of any kind. One exception was Amy Hewitt, a tenant who claimed to have heard a lone cry of murder. But this was early in the evening of August the 6th, and the scream had emanated from outside the complex. Hewitt further explained, "The district round here is rather rough, and cries of murder are a frequent, if not nightly occurrence." The victim was eventually identified as 39-year-old Martha Tabram. Tabram was a mother of 2 and had separated from her husband many years prior. Her last known address was 19 George Street, a common lodging house less than 300 meters from the site of her death. Tabram had made a living through prostitution, and one of her associates was a woman named Marianne Connolly. Connolly testified that on the evening of August the 6th, she and Tabram had been out drinking with 2 soldiers. Then, shortly before midnight, the party of 4 had separated. Connolly took her client into Angel Alley, while Tabram guided hers into neighboring George Yard. It was the last time she saw Tabram alive.
Oops.
Barely 2 hours later, Constable...
Oh, these sell way too fast. What the hell?
Entrance of George Yard.
I just saw 2 lush artifacts in less than 5 minutes.
Waiting for his mate who had gone away with a girl. Half an hour later, Tabram is presumed
How many days do we have to run our minions here to make a lush artifact?
Both Connolly and Barrett were called upon to identify the soldiers.
How many slots do we have again? 27 or 8?
One had been home with his wife,
28?
another
Alright,
on
let me
army
check.
base, and yet another in a completely different part of the city. This was enough for Inspector Edmund Reed, the lead investigator on the case, to abandon this line of inquiry. Connolly and Barrett, having both picked out the wrong men, they could not be trusted again, as their evidence would be worthless. Even if a soldier had been responsible, no one could deduce a motive. The people of Whitechapel might have been accustomed to crime,
12 days.
but the sheer brutality of this attack was as frightening.
It's not bad though, because a lush artifact is going for like 100 mil plus.
For a poor, defenseless woman to be outraged and stabbed in such a manner is almost beyond belief. These were the concluding remarks delivered at the final inquest held on August the 23rd. Only a week later, things would go from bad.
I think now we know what to do. Now I'm gonna start crafting vertexes again. If only oh yeah, Fabric gets unbanned this tonight.
On the morning of
Yay.
August the 31st, a man named Robert Paul left
I can
his
force
home on
Fabric to
Foster
farm with
Street and headed for work.
Why?
I don't know,
After
I'm trying
making
to
a right
farm,
turn
bro.
into Bucks Road,
Yeah,
he
nothing.
spotted a man standing in the road. The man turned around to face him and said, "Come and look over here. There's a woman lying on the pavement." The stranger was named Charles Cross, and
Wait, I wonder how much
he had been on his
Death
way
the
to work
Ripper
when he
daggers
first
are now. The
caught sight of
Vertex
the
is
woman.
stupid prices. Death the
The two men now cautiously
Okay.
approached.
Okay.
The woman's hands were cold to the touch, and
Okay.
Cross believed she was dead.
Nice.
Paul, however, thought he could sense faint breathing, but
Nice.
instead of seeking immediate help, Cross and Paul were more concerned about being late for work. As such, they quickly resumed their morning commute, hoping to notify policemen along the
They
way.
just left the dead body there?
Fortunately, Constable John Neal was just around the corner. Neal was equipped with a lantern and found the woman lying on her back with a deep cut across the throat. The wound was still bleeding and parts of her body were still warm. He was soon joined by Constable John Thane, who was sent at once to fetch a nearby doctor. Upon his arrival shortly after 4 o'clock, Dr. Reese Llewellyn estimated that, quote, "she had not been dead more than half an hour." In other words, Cross and Paul had likely found the woman mere minutes after she was killed. Furthermore, 3 officers had patrolled the vicinity just a few minutes prior. Constable Neal had last inspected Bucks Row at approximately 3:15. So too had Sergeant Henry Kirby, whereas Constable Thane had merely passed the end of the street, none of whom had seen nor heard anything amiss. Upon the body's removal to the mortuary, a shocking discovery was made. Apart from 2 incisions in the throat, the woman had also been, quote, "disemboweled."
Ugh.
No organs had been removed, but Dr. Llewellyn found, quote, "several incisions running across the abdomen."
Was good.
He also believed that the killer possessed, quote, "some rough anatomical knowledge, for he seemed to have attacked all the vital parts." The victim was quickly identified. Her name was Mary Ann Nichols, and she had turned 43 just 5 days before
Damn,
the
they had
murder.
a lot of children.
Nichols had at least 6 children, and her last known address was a common lodging house at 56 Flower and Dean Street. On the night of her death, Nichols had been turned away from a lodging house on Thrall Street as she lacked the funds to pay for a bed. Seeking to raise the money through prostitution, Nichols had then ventured down Osborne Street before meeting her friend, Ellen Holland. The two of them shared a brief exchange, but Nichols was visibly drunk. When they parted ways around 2:30, Holland saw Nichols staggering eastward along Whitechapel Road. Barely an hour later, she was found dead. Apart from the body itself, the killer had left nothing in their wake. No blood trail, no murder weapon, no witnesses. Inspector Joseph Helson, the lead investigator on the case, stated that, quote, "not an atom of evidence can be obtained to connect any person with the crime." While the Nichols case ground to a screeching halt, its similarities with the Martha Tabram case had not gone unnoticed. In both cases, the attack had been needlessly ferocious, and there was no discernible motive. Both victims were prostitutes of roughly the same age and moved in the same circles. The only meaningful difference was their injuries. Tabram had been repeatedly stabbed, whereas Nichols had suffered multiple slash wounds. Differences aside, the prevailing assumption was that the same deranged individual had committed both murders, a conviction that would only grow stronger in the days that followed.
That is.
You're wild.
Oh, I got a fermento.
You're long enough.
As the sun was rising on September the 8th, a man named John Richardson was on his way to work. At 4:45, he made a quick stop at 29 Hanbury Street. He went through the entrance and out the back door by way of a cramped hallway. Richardson then sat down on the backyard steps before grabbing a knife to trim a vexing piece of leather from his boot. Once satisfied,
Oh, I got a
he
second
left
for
the
that too.
building and shut the front door behind him. About an hour later, a third-floor tenant of the same
But you're
address,
just
John
hacking.
Davis, plodded downstairs and into the hallway. The front door was now wide open, but the one in the back was closed. When Davis went to open it, he found the bloodied remains of a woman lying on her back just below the steps.
What the fuck?
Inspector Joseph Chandler was the first officer on the scene. After a brief inspection, he sent at once for a medic. Dr. George Phillips arrived at 6:30 and found the woman, quote,
terribly mutilated.
the throat had been, quote,
Dissevered deeply.
whereas the abdomen had been, quote,
I'm so
entirely
glad
laid
they're not
open.
showing any images.
The
of
intestines
this.
had been, quote,
Lifted out of the body
What?
and placed by the shoulder of the
I'm watching Lemio's video on
the body was
Jack
then
the Ripper
conveyed to
thing.
the mortuary, while Inspector Chandler and Dr. Phillips
The what?
conducted a sweep of
Jack
the
the
backyard.
Ripper.
Most of what they found belonged to the
Actually, no, they should actually, bro.
but just below the resting place of the woman's feet,
English serial
they found a
killer.
small piece of cloth and 2 combs.
It's not like it monetized or
The
anything.
items had
Yeah.
likely belonged to the victim, but it seemed
Huh?
to Dr. Phillips
Yeah,
that
I'm
they
not-
had been
I know.
deliberately positioned
Exactly.
How
and
to get?
arranged.
How do you get monetized?
How do I get monetized? It's like I need, I think, 40,000
The post-mortem
watch.
revealed
No,
that
4,000
2
watch
brass
hours.
rings
Right? I
had
think
been
I'm like
forcibly
200
removed
watch
from the
hours right
victim's
now.
left hand.
Which is basically like, you know,
These
like how
rings
much time
were-
people.
Yeah, but
have
does
to-
that count with streams or is it just
Portions
videos?
Yeah,
of
it
the
does count
victim's
streams,
abdomen
but you know,
had
people
also
actually
gone
have to
missing,
watch it. Like it counts
including
the
the
duration
wound.
that they watch, and also
Dr. Phillips believed
1,000
that
Yeah, but
subs.
streams is
The
a
mode in which
stream
these
could be a
portions were
fast way.
extracted showed some
Well, that's
anatomical
only if
Yeah.
like you know you do
This
have viewer
point
that like
was
watches
greatly
it.
expanded upon at a subsequent inquest.
It like
The
counts,
injuries had
like,
been
how
made
long
by
they
someone who
actually
had considerable
watch.
anatomical skill and knowledge. There were no meaningless cuts. For instance, no mere slaughterer of animals could have carried out these operations. It must have been someone accustomed to the post-mortem room.
So Jack the Ripper was
The victim was quickly identified
Jesus.
as Annie Chapman. Chapman's date
Jack
of
the
birth
Ripper was
is a bit
Jesus?
uncertain,
No,
but she
it's
was
like
roughly
like all of the reports say that like
She had at
whoever
least
killed
7
like,
children,
had
but was
good
tragically
anatomical
only
knowledge
survived
'cause
by
they,
2.
Like
Her last known address was a common lodging house
knew
at
like
35
where to
Dorset
stab
Street.
them and stuff like that.
Not
On the night of
bad,
her
not
death,
bad.
Chapman had been denied accommodation
well played,
as
bro.
she lacked the funds to pay for a bed. She was escorted off the premises by the night watchman, who then saw her vanish into a nearby alleyway. What happened to Chapman over the next few hours, nobody knows. Her whereabouts during this time is a complete mystery. But unlike the 2 previous cases, a witness in the Chapman case might have caught a glimpse of the killer. At 5:30 on the morning of September the 8th, a woman named Elizabeth Long spotted a man and a woman conversing outside 29 Hanbury Street. Long was positive that the woman she'd seen was Annie Chapman, but the man had stood with his back towards Long, so she never saw his face.
Oh my god.
Long did, however, manage to overhear a fragment of their
What's up?
conversation. The man had posed the question,
Will you?
to which the woman responded,
Yes.
Now, a lasting point of contention in the Chapman case is the time of death. According to Dr. Phillips, when he arrived at 6:30, Chapman had been dead for, quote,
At least 2 hours.
that would place her death at around 4:30. But according to Long, she saw Chapman alive a full hour later. Then there's the testimony of John Richardson. Richardson was the son of one of the tenants in the building. At 4:45, he made a routine checkup on the door to the basement, which had previously suffered a break-in. When he found it secure, he sat down on the backyard steps to trim a piece of leather from his boot. Even though he sat mere centimeters from the murder site, Richardson did not see a body. He was adamant on this point.
I could not have failed to notice the deceased if she had been there.
To muddle the timeline even further, there's the testimony of Albert Kadosh. About 20 minutes
That
past
is
5,
crazy, like, all of
Kadosh
these
had gone through the
people,
backyard of 27 Hanbury
Like
Street
discover the body
when he
or,
heard
like, the body's
voices coming from
discovered,
nearby.
like, so, like,
They were
close
barely
to
audible,
people, but no
however,
one sees
and
them.
Kadosh had only made out the word no. A few minutes later, he heard something falling against the wooden fence dividing the 2 yards. There's no one way to untangle this web of contradictions, but Dr. Phillips did concede the possibility that he'd miscalculated. that, quote,
The coldness of the morning and the great loss of blood
had skewed his opinion, which was largely based on the warmth of the body. So, presuming that Dr. Phillips did miscalculate, and the recollections of Long and Kaddish were off by a few minutes, that would place Chapman's death at around 5:30 in the morning. By this point, the dim light of dawn would have provided the tenants of 29 Hanbury Street an unobstructed view of the murder site, some of whom had even slept with their windows open. In spite of this, the killer managed to evade detection and even made time to arrange the victim's possessions. As the tally of victims gradually mounted,
I got another
the public
fermento.
grew increasingly anxious. They were not only
Easy
frightened
250K.
by the murders, but frustrated.
Pseudo, stop! You're basically creating inflation, bro. Stop.
Even across the pond, where the efforts of the police fiercely criticized.
It's not my
The
fault.
London police
My,
and
uh,
detectives
It is.
was
You're
probably
basically
stupidest
creating coins out of nowhere, bro. Come on, stop.
Well, these mocking
Yeah, I'm getting
quotes
too
and
lucky. I'm creating
illustrations
creating
failed to
inflation
capture
because my
or the
RNG.
overwhelming
Oh,
odds
250K
stacked in
every
favor
time.
of the perpetrator. The police were up
It's okay
against
though,
someone who
I'm-
seemingly
I'm-
struck
I'm
without
keeping
motive,
off, I'm
someone who
using
left
it
no
for
murder
myself.
weapon, and few
It's
witnesses.
still inflation, bro. You're creating
On top of that,
coins.
No, I'm
the East
not.
End was severely
Because it's worth
overcrowded,
250K
while the
to
police were
NPC, so
understaffed.
basically you're creating coins.
As
Wait,
one
is it
newspaper
actually worth that
put it,
much to NPC?
A man in the
Yes,
East End
that's
of
why
London
Berserk
What?
is
is a
stuck
grain
at
of sand,
250K.
as invisible and almost
I didn't know you
not
could
beyond
NPC them.
identification.
No, you can. That's why the prices are like
At no
that.
point
They're not
would
high.
this become more apparent than during the events
Ah.
of September the 30th.
Wait, so can you sell a condensed for like 9 times that?
Yeah, yeah. 2.2 mil, I think, or something like
2.25, yeah.
that. 2.5, yeah.
Oh, okay. Were the prices always like this, or did they only like?
On September the 29th,
Because I think I
Oh,
remember.
when it first came out, there was no NPC price.
Okay, yeah. Because
Then,
that was like.
bro,
it
bro,
just feels
I remember
complaining.
I bought Fermento at like 200 coins per because they were dead as shit. Then they randomly put an NPC price and they just rose.
Oh my god.
Like 200 went to 250K. I'm like, oh my god, this made free bang, bro.
Lave used the side entrance.
I think I bought
This
like
RNG
1
drop
mil
was 200 coins. What is that? That's so what?
Moments of the lave
Crappie
got
was
back
like 50
inside,
coins.
Morris eager
Dark, so I just got another
accessed the
fermento.
building by the same entrance.
So,
He too was a member
honestly,
of the
Crappie
club,
one
and had just
of the ones that
returned
went a
from
lot.
home.
Because Crappie's worth like what,
Neither of them
25K to NPC right
noticed
now.
anything unusual.
It was like 50 coins before.
20 minutes
So like
later, the sound of
that's
a
like
horse and carriage could be
500x
heard
if
cropping
people were
down
to invest in it.
The driver was Louis Diemschutz, the steward of the clubhouse. When Diemschutz drove into Dutville's yard,
Yet another
his pony
murder.
abruptly veered to the left. When he looked down to his right, he thought he could discern something in the darkness. Diemschutz stepped down from his barrow, and after lighting a match, could see a woman lying on
I like how most of these people are in America, you know, because
Without
y'all
even
just got
knowing if she was
shitty security.
Drunk or dead.
What?
Diemschutz rushed inside the club to
All
check
of these
his
like
wife.
creepy
He saw her
clown
safe
or
and
Jack the
sound.
Ripper.
He
you
alerted
know,
the
they're
Jack
all
the
in
Ripper
America.
was in.
and a small crowd
was in
soon gathered
Europe, though. It was
outside.
London.
They
Europe,
could now see
really?
that the
Yes,
woman's
Jack
throat
the Ripper
had
was
been
in London.
pulled.
Fearfully cut.
So who's the one guy in America? Is it a
stream of
clown?
blood
You mean
was
Ted
trickling
Bundy?
down the yard.
Yeah, Ted Bundy. There we go.
Eagle,
There's also, like,
Diemschutz, and a few
Jeffrey
others
Dahmer.
Jeffrey
promptly
Dahmer, yeah,
dispersed
of
to find a
course.
policeman. While a growing crowd of bystanders waited for
I wish
authorities
it'd be
to
like
arrive,
him one day.
there was
What
no
the
sign
fuck?
of the perpetrator.
Are there any like cases of like Canadian serial killers?
But across the city,
I don't think Canadians
there's an
can be a serial killer, bro.
Why?
and even more,
They don't have
courage
access to
discovered
guns and shit,
was
okay?
about to be made.
They
At
don't have
1:30
all the
of
good
the same
weapons
morning,
and stuff.
Constable Edward
This is a
Watkins
very
patrolled
political
open
farming stream.
space
This is how
known
we're
as
making
Mitre
Finnegan
Square.
interesting.
Oh
Watkins
yes,
did
talking
routine
about
through the
murders.
square about
Yeah.
once every 13 minutes, and on this occasion, it was deserted. But in the time it took Watkins to complete another rotation, Mitre Square was turned into a crime scene.
You saw the new thing, the new Twitter
I next came in at 1:44.
What's
threads,
I turned
threads
to
or
the
whatnot.
I saw the body
Oh,
of a
you mean
woman
like what
lying
Facebook's
there on
doing?
her back.
Yeah, yeah,
I
yeah.
haven't really
the-
used it. I
the-
haven't looked at it. I just know it exists, but I haven't looked at
Yeah,
it.
it came out like 2 days ago, and like
Yeah, what is
they,
it?
they basically like they made it so like it's like the new like Twitter basically, but like
I mean,
on
Elon is
Facebook.
kind of killing Twitter.
Dr. George Cicada and Dr. Fred
yeah, but
Brown
imagine no, but like
converged
Twitter's
on the scene.
made so that
They
like you
found
can say about
terrible
anything
injuries
without
inflicted
being
upon the woman's face,
not
throat,
cancelled, but
and
like
abdomen.
without
The
any
intestines had been
repercussions, you know.
pulled.
Drawn
Yeah.
out to a large
I think that's what
placed
Elon was
over
trying
the
to do
right
because he
shoulder.
was like, oh,
Like, it's
yeah,
actually
we need like
easy to
free
cut,
speech.
like-
Yeah.
To the face, but
It's
the
not
band
like
noted that, quote,
The lobe
monitors
and
or
auricle
like,
of the
you know,
right
stuff like
ear
that.
was cut obliquely through.
So what about
based
like
on
the
their
threats thing,
expert
though?
opinions, coupled with the testimony of one
It's just Mark
only allowed
Zuckerberg
30
made it
minutes of her body being found.
because he was bored.
And then what?
Oh, you know that they're having a boxing match,
Back in
right?
Burner Street,
What boxing
Dr.
match?
Frederick Blackwell and
Wait,
Dr.
oh, you
George
don't know
Phillips
about it? You don't know
reached the
about
same
it?
What?
conclusion.
Oh,
The
she
lead
missing
Duff was
out.
had died.
What happened?
Basically,
Oh wait, Mark and Elon are having a boxing match, right?
yeah, it is.
I
And
thought that
that's
was a
like
joke that one of them,
No,
like
that's a
Elon
real
said it as a
thing.
joke, right? Elon said it as a
Yeah,
joke,
he
and
said
then
it
Mark
as a
actually.
joke, but then afterwards it became a real thing. As in, like, now they have like actual trainers and shit.
Oh,
And
what
like,
wait, when is that happening though? When is the fight happening?
no one knows, but like, it's actually interesting because like, apparently the government of Italy, right?
Uh huh.
They asked, I think, like Elon if they want to fight in the Colosseum in Rome.
What? Oh, I got
Yeah.
another fermento.
So
Wait,
it's
so they're
like,
fighting in
really-
Rome? So, wait, they're fighting in
In
the
the
Colosseum.
Colosseum.
Isn't it like broken and run down and just for tourists
Yeah,
now?
but like they're saying like if it's such a big event, they might like rebuild it just for this. You know?
What the fuck? That's so dumb.
It's fun. Yeah, I
It's
mean
so
that's
dumb.
also why they made the new Twitter thing to like fight Twitter, you know, fight digitally and also in real life.
Oh my god,
And then
that is crazy.
That is fun.
I thought it was like just a joke that Elon said at first. I didn't know like Zuckerberg would actually like.
Yeah,
respond to
I
anything.
also thought that too. But then then like apparently like some trainer from like Quebec like asked Elon, "Yo, let me be your trainer."
Wait, who's
Then he
training
was like,
Zuckerberg
"Alright."
then?
You know, he's a black belt in like martial arts already, right?
Yeah, I heard that before also.
Yeah, but like he doesn't really need training. It's just
Yeah, but
Elon.
boxing's not like
It's not boxing, is it? MMA? I mean,
Is it
like
they're doing MMA?
I'm
What?
pretty sure they're doing like yeah, MMA.
Hello, new viewer in chat. Finnegan's very boring, so we're just like discussing controversial topics. So Elon's getting trained right now, and Zuckerberg's, you know, doing his own thing. But okay, interesting. I never really kept up with like all of the boxing stuff because it's like Logan Paul and like what's like Jake Paul. They're just like, bro, Logan Paul's such a scammer. It's crazy how he keeps getting away with it.
Oh yeah, I haven't seen the video yet. That what coffee's
Yeah, Coffee's about like his crypto zoo thing, right?
Yeah, but like, I think he made a new video. I just didn't have the time to
Yeah.
check it yet.
Yeah,
Well,
but
he's-
Logan Paul is
he's
actually
not
such a
giving
scammer. It is crazy.
Hey,
It's like I don't get
if
how
you-
anyone can think like the Paul brothers are like good people.
You're money hungry once, you're money hungry forever, bro.
Yeah.
Especially like, it was basically free money for him. He didn't do much.
I think what's it called? I think someone else made a video on it. It's like, you know how Logan Paul got rid of the controversy? He was just like the coffee what's it called, the CoffeeZilla video and like the Crypto Zoo thing, it blew up, right? And then Logan Paul started like, what he did was like he just started doing really well in boxing. And people were like, oh yeah, look at this, Logan's so good at boxing now, and they just like forgot about the crypto thing.
Yeah, he's trying to redirect the subject.
Yeah, exactly,
like,
redirecting the attention to other stuff.
boxing.
Yeah. Hello, other people in chat. Again, I said it earlier, but it's like Finnegan's really boring, so we're just like discussing controversial stuff and watching random videos. So, welcome to the stream.
This guy.
Yeah. What other stuff's happening? What else is in the news now?
Oh, the housing market is crashing.
Okay, I don't really know about that, but okay, explain that.
Oh no, it's because the like where's the fucking the U.S. federal shit is like they're getting broker, bro. They're so much in debt that like
I mean,
It's
U.S.
dumb.
is like trillions in debt, isn't it?
aren't you all like trillions in debt at this point?
Actually, wait. You know, U.S. students owe more money than the entire nation of Canada. Like student loans, like student debt is crazy.
No, I don't get student loans. Like why?
Yeah,
What?
exactly. Like
Like
U.S.
how
students.
much and like how much does it scale? Like I'm sure there's a lot of interest, right?
Yeah, it's basically like there's like a few different types of loans, but it's like I forget what exactly it is, but there's called like subsidized or like unsubsidized and like direct
Mm-hmm.
subsidized and like whatever.
Yeah, yeah,
And
yeah.
basically the best type is like it doesn't count interest while you're still in college. It only starts counting like after you get out of college.
Oh, that's even worse. 'Cause you didn't make money in college, bro. You're,
No, that's what I mean. There's also like federal work study and everything, but it's still so dumb. Like the price you have to pay for education in America, and it is really sad. But like U.S. students, like if like U.S. students were like a country, they'd be like I think like ranked like top 5 in most debt owed by a country.
oh, yeah, for sure, dude.
Yeah.
Like, what the hell? Like, isn't like people who can't even pay back the debt because so
Yeah.
much it's
hmm
fucked up.
I mean, there's like some
Like,
things to help them, but still, it's like a really bad issue. There's like the
like
federal like
in
forgiveness
like,
thing. It's like after like
mhm,
20 years or something, if you haven't like paid it back and like you work in a specific like whatever, then
mhm.
like they forgive the loan and stuff. But it's like a very specific thing.
Yeah, then just wait 20 years. Mm.
I think like you have to have like some sort of like government job or like some sort of like office job for
Like
that to.
army, maybe some of the
I don't
military.
know. I mean, like joining the army is they also do help you kind of like pay for education.
Oh, yeah,
You
for
get a lot of aid
sure.
for that, but still, it's
Don't you
like
get free education though if you're in the army before going to like college?
I'm not sure. A lot of colleges do also. It's like, are you a part of like the reserve like something training corps
Yeah,
or
yeah.
whatever? Yeah. All right, time to look at
Not doing
chats. Hello, fuck Finnegan, waste of a mirror. Yeah, I guess. Oh well. But while it's here, I'm just gonna grind some farming levels, cause why not? Farming to hype, so a bit more money. And
Honestly, you don't even need Finnegan. You don't even
yeah, because
invest
you
in
don't
level.
even get any like XP. It's like what are even his perks? It's like more people that fit into each like category
Yeah,
during farming
it's more
contests.
for people who are already like farming 50 and need the
Yeah,
small boost.
exactly. It's like more pelts and more cultivating enchant, but it doesn't actually
Some
give like
more.
any XP boost.
Yeah.
Let's see. 2, 3. Okay, I need 2 more from Ento, and then I can make my second condensed.
But more farming XP boost would be crazy. It would be with 2 OP, I think. Because you already get so much right now.
I
Like, for
guess.
example, fishing makes sense because fishing is a wall, so more XP boost makes sense. But
Yeah.
like for farming, I mean, bro, mushroomer that gives you like 1 XP an hour, that's already more than
How
what most
much?
other shit do. If you're using rabbit, it could go up to 1.5 mil XP an hour.
Wait, there's veteran, right? That increases combat wisdom. Is there anything that increases farming wisdom?
No.
Like that?
There is farming wisdom. There's the
I know
abacase.
this. Oh, yeah, but that's only like 1 farming wisdom.
That's actually like a lot if you
Yeah.
go with it. There's a pelt belt actually.
Mhm.
I actually funny thing is I actually used to use a rooted green thumb 5 pelt belt. Don't ask.
What?
Don't ask. Oh, because I was making money leveling up mushroom cow pets while farming mushrooms. And I was also getting like, spores and shit. So I was actually making like I think like around 35
Wait,
million an
what
hour.
do you even need to drop spores? Is it like any farming level, or
Only mushroom. Only mushroom.
only mushroom, and then what? Like
Mhm.
any farming level, or do you need to be wearing
Yeah,
fermented?
any farming level, you just need to farm mushrooms.
Oh,
Yeah, but still somewhat rare, I believe.
yeah. Yeah, I know Rav had for farming wisdom, but it's already like max, and I'm just like claiming the visitor things with it. I was like asking about the like equipment stuff though, because you can have like attributes like veteran that increase combat wisdom. I was
No,
also
no, no combo. No, that's not a thing. No. It's just like
unfortunate.
the minor ones. But honestly, I would still recommend getting that because even though it's 1, it adds up over time.
Yeah, for every 1 million XP you get, that is what, like
1% more. Do math.
that's 10,000 more XP. That is like oh.
1 sec. Give me a sec. I'll be back.
He's so expensive. Eh. What else can we watch? Let's watch movie recaps. That's always fun.
Hi. Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I'm going to explain a French romantic comedy drama film called We Die Young. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. 14-year-old Lucas lives in Washington, D.C., and works as a collector for a gang called the MS-13. Since he is young and looks fairly innocent, the gang uses him to collect debts and deliver illegal substances in guarded areas. In an opening monologue, Lucas explains the ins and outs of the gang and the way it functions. There are more than 10,000 MS-13 members in over 40 states. Their influence ranges from business to politics, but their main source of income is the illegal trade of recreational drugs. The lowest rank of the gang is the Blue Boys, who are in charge of selling. They give the money to the collectors, which is then handed to the second highest gang member, Jester. At last, the money goes to the merciless gang leader, Rincon. He makes every decision for the group and is a god to the members of the gang. Lucas is merely a collector, but works closely with Rincon. The friendship between them is not liked by the right-hand man, Jester. He knows that Rincon favors the kid more than him. This makes his blood boil, because he has worshipped Rincon since the beginning of the gang. One afternoon, Lucas collects the money from the Blue Boys and brings it to the leader. He witnesses some gangsters beating a man to death for refusing to pay the money he owes. Seeing people being murdered is a usual day for the kid. Then we are introduced to a mute Afghanistan war veteran named Daniel. Lucas's customers consist of several people from street junkies to high-profile individuals. But out of all of them, Daniel stands out the most. Unlike most people who consume pills for fun, he does so to block an unsolved trauma. He works at a local car shop and helps Lucas whenever he can. For the past few days, Rincon is stressed because an FBI car has been parked outside his house, keeping an eye on him. Because of this, the business has been going very slow. Moreover, Rincon's sister, Gabriella's wedding, is in a few days, and they are celebrating from home. She is handicapped, so Rincon wants to do everything in his power to make the day special. While collecting money that day, Lucas meets an old shopkeeper who is a few hundred short because his wife is sick. If it had been any other collector, they would have beaten the old man to death, but Lucas asks him to pay when he gets the chance. Following that, he goes to a local junkie base and finds his little brother, Miguel. The kid is unaware of the risks of being in a gang and wants to be a runner like his brother. Lucas wants the best for him, which is why he drags him back to the school. Somewhere else, Daniel is with his friend Anna and her daughter. He and Anna like each other, but have decided to stay friends, since they both have very different lifestyles. As they chat, Anna inquires why a man like him lives in a Latino neighborhood. Daniel says he likes it here, but the truth is, he is in constant need of pills that Lucas sells. They help him when he gets panic attacks and war flashbacks from the time that he was in Afghanistan. The next day, Rincon welcomes his soon-to-be brother-in-law, Thomas, and his family for the wedding ceremony. Everyone in the house is preparing for the occasion, so he has to entertain the in-laws on his own. The gangster is not very good at holding social conversations, so when Lucas arrives with the money, he is happy to get out of the situation. When he and Lucas are alone, he counts the money, happy that he has someone as trustworthy as Lucas working by his side. Taking the opportunity, the kid asks him to leave his little brother out of the business. Rincon agrees and gives him a suit to wear at the wedding, which is in a few hours. But before that, there is a very special task he wants Lucas to complete. He has to deliver 2 packs of illegal goods to the receiver of a rival gang. This is the most important task Lucas has ever been handed, only because anyone else would be suspected by the FBI outside the house. Jester is yet again not a fan of the idea and thinks the kid will mess up the deal, but he cannot go against the leader's decision. Before dismissing him, Rincon orders him to leave Lucas's little brother out of the gang activities. Outside, Lucas is on his way to make the delivery when a kid informs him that his brother is going through a jump-in. It is a process where everyone gets to beat up a person for 13 seconds, and by the end of it, the person will be a part of the gang. Lucas tries to save his little brother, but the others restrain him and proceed to hit the kid. Some seconds later, they stop and welcome him to the gang. Fortunately, Miguel is only mildly injured. Lucas asks him to come with him just to make sure he is fine. However, instead of going to the tracks to make the delivery, he decides to bring Miguel to their house. He doesn't want the kid to stay near the gang anymore and packs up his bags to send him to a baseball camp. But while doing so, he accidentally drops one of the packages that Rincon had given him. Soon, he notices that the package is missing, but before he can look for it, Jester arrives with his people and asks him why he isn't at the drop-off point. To save himself, Lucas claims that Rincon lied to Jester about the drop-off point because he doesn't trust him. Jester, who was already jealous, is furious at the leader for trusting a kid over him. In the meantime, Rincon and his sister are taking wedding pictures and celebrating the occasion. But even when they are trying to enjoy themselves, Rincon is worried about the FBI officers outside his house. Jester asks Lucas to come to Rincon and explain why he wasn't at the drop-off track. Lucas knows that if he goes to the leader with a missing package, he will surely get killed. Just then, he sees an old man driving past them and signals him to crash his car. The man is Lucas's associate, so he does as told and distracts Jester and his people. Taking the opportunity, Lucas and Miguel run away. A chase ensues through the streets, in which the brothers narrowly avoid the gunshots being fired at them. Eventually, they meet Daniel, who drives them away from the gangsters. Suddenly, they get into an accident, and the screen goes black. A flashback shows us Daniel's struggles when he was in Afghanistan. He kills several people, and watches his friend get killed by the enemies. Back in the present, he comes back to his senses and sees that Miguel's leg is stuck in the seat. He quickly gets out and helps the brothers before they hide in his room. Lucas dresses Miguel's wound to the best of his capabilities while discussing their next step. Somewhere else, Jester goes to Rincon and tells him that Lucas has betrayed them and run away with the packages. Rincon is shocked because he trusted the kid more than his closest mates. If they do not deliver the packages, they will surely be attacked by the rival cartel, and the wedding will be ruined alongside the loss in business. Since he has to be at the wedding, he orders Jester to bring Lucas and the packages at any cost. Lucas, on the other hand, knows that the only way for him to survive is by handing Rincon both the packages. He goes through the bags and sees that the second one is missing as well. Upon realizing that it must have dropped in the car, he rushes to the crash site. Back at the house, a man named Spider crashes the wedding. He is the rival dealer who is supposed to receive the packages. Rincon doesn't want a guy like him at a family occasion, but he has to ask him to wait for a while. Meanwhile, Lucas reaches the burning car and discovers the second package inside. On looking closer, he notices that it is full of cash, which is also in flames. It is clear that he is not getting out of this situation alive, but all he cares about is his brother's well-being. He runs back to Daniel and thanks him. Daniel wants to drive them out of the city, but Lucas says they do not need any more of his help. Following that, the brothers rush to their apartment to get the first package. Lucas wants to run away from the city using the money in the package. The brothers wait outside the apartment for most of the day because it is swarming with Rincon's men. A while later, when no one from the gang is around, they sneak inside, but right then they are caught by a kid who is also a budding gang member. He says that he will keep his mouth shut since he has known them forever. But as the brothers are about to leave with the money, the kid brings Jester in. He holds the brothers at gunpoint and checks Lucas's bag, finding out that one of the packages is missing. Lucas tells him that the package is burned into ashes, which doesn't help Jester's anger. Some hours later, Daniel returns to work to find that the gangsters have assaulted the owner of the shop. An enraged Anna blames him for the old man's condition. It turns out that Jester and the gangsters were there to look for the second package, which is why the owner was beaten. After discovering that the kids have been caught, Daniel decides to risk his life to get them out of there safely. Anna tries to convince him otherwise, but she cannot persuade him to abort his plan. In the meantime, Rincon's sister gets married, and the newlyweds kiss. Lucas and Miguel are brought to the house by Jester. He keeps them waiting until Rincon gets done with the ceremony. Outside in the kitchen, one of Gabriella's friends is preparing drinks for the guests. All of a sudden, Spider starts touching her inappropriately. Sometime later, Rincon enters the kitchen and sees him assaulting his sister-like friend. In a fit of rage, the gangster beats Spider to death and asks the girl to clean the blood. Outside, Daniel arrives and threatens two guards. They get into a fight, which ends in the death of one of the guards. Daniel holds the other hostage and thinks of a plan. He knows that he cannot just walk in and save the boys. What he needs is a distraction. Hence, he brings the hostage in front of the FBI officers. The other gangsters see this and bring their weapons out. When the FBI officers find out about the guns, they call for backup, and soon, a shootout starts. Rincon meets Lucas and asks him where the other package is, but before he can answer, gunshots are heard. The wedding is interrupted by a dead body dropping out of the window. Everyone starts running for their lives, which causes chaos. Daniel is spotted and shot in the leg, but he somehow manages to get the boys. He ties Miguel's jacket around his wound before bringing them outside. To Rincon's dismay, his sister is also shot and killed in the shootout. Daniel, Lucas, and Miguel are now on a railway track nearby. Jester catches up to them and orders them to hand over the second package. It turns out Daniel stole it amidst the shootout. Suddenly, Daniel falls to the ground because of the injury, and Rincon arrives at the same time. He is devastated by his sister's death and blames the kids for the mishap. But to everyone's surprise, he asks the brothers to run away and never come back to DC again. Jester is beyond shocked. He believes that Rincon is no longer fit to run the gang, so he shoots him dead. Then he asks for the package one more time. Daniel throws Miguel his jacket and hands the package to Jester. The boys use this opportunity to run away. However, Jester soon finds out that the package is empty. He is ready to kill Daniel when the gangster kid who ratted them out earlier shoots him. In the last scene, the brothers are on a train to a new city. Miguel finds a bundle of money in his pocket that they can use to start a better life together. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications,
Wait, that was it?
and
That was
leave
so
a like
short.
to help the channel out. Thank you for watching.
Hi.
What are the other ones?
Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain an Indonesian comedy drama film called Too Handsome to Handle. Spoilers ahead, watch out, and take care. The Moss family has been good looking for several generations. They are admired by many because of their beauty, which in turn makes them a lot of money. The eldest son,
crazy
Okus, is an internet influencer. He has millions of followers because of his looks, and is also considered a love guru who helps men impress their crushes. The father, Pakar, used to be a heartbreaker who dated more than 1,200 girls before meeting their mother.
What the
Meanwhile,
fuck?
the mother can also be considered handsome because of her masculine features and an obvious mustache. Lastly, the protagonist, Kulin, is the youngest son and the most attractive of them all. The family has gotten used to their life as people with good looks, except for Kulin, who struggles to live normally because of his handsomeness. He often wishes he was only mildly attractive. That way he could go out without being chased by a crowd of women every time. Girls go crazy, pass out, pull their hair, and often get nosebleeds on getting a look at his attractive face. Poor Kulin. As a result, he has never had a genuine interaction with a girl. He avoids going out in public as much as possible and has been homeschooled until now. Kulin has no friends he can talk to other than his pet fish. He often plays cards with it and talks to it out loud. His family watches him through a camera in worry. They want him to have a normal teenage life and try their best to help him. Okus frequently shows him pictures of girls, trying to hook him up with someone. However, Kulin says that his type in girls is someone who doesn't like him. He wants to be seen for his personality and interest, not his face. Perhaps Kulin wants to date his fish.
What?
When nothing works out to motivate Kulin to go out, the family takes it a step further. They plan to fake financial problems and guilt him into going to school. One night, when Kulin wakes up to drink water, his parents pretend to be worried about their finances. They dramatically declare that they will only eat scrambled eggs for breakfast until they earn enough money for Kulin's homeschooling. He feels awful to be causing his parents so much trouble. The next morning, he declares that he will be going to school for the upcoming semester. The family is overjoyed until he mentions that he will only go to an all-boys school. Although they would have preferred him to be able to talk to girls, they are happy to take one step at a time. A few days later is Kulin's first day at an actual school. Okus drops him off on his bike, but Kulin doesn't take his helmet off. He plans to wear it the entire day to hide the fact that he is handsome. However, the plan backfires when the helmet grabs more attention than he intended it to. Kulin quietly sits down in the last seat, but is called out by the class bully, Sidi, and his minions. When the teacher enters the classroom, she too is surprised to see a guy with a helmet. She urges him to take it off right that instant. Although reluctant, Kulin has no way but to oblige. He slowly takes the helmet off in a dramatic way, revealing his face. That plan backfired hard. In the following scene, the teacher is being loaded into an ambulance. It turns out that she started to nosebleed and hyperventilate because of Kulin's beauty. The other kids complain to the principal that the new student is too handsome to handle. Kulin runs through the hallway to go back home, but is tripped by one of the bullies. They bring him to the school's storeroom and introduce themselves like they are Power Rangers. They are called the Tiga Talk, a group of 3 bullies led by Sidi, the principal's son. After the over-the-top introduction, they reveal that they need Kulin's help to ask a girl out for prom. The group has been in the senior year of school for the past 3 years. They refuse to graduate until Sidi goes to the prom with the most beautiful girl of the BBM school, Amanda. However, she only accepts requests from handsome men, so the group wants Kulin to deliver the promposal. They assign an innocent guy, Kibo, to help Kulin and lead the way. Kibo has also been a victim of their pranks in the past and is obliged to do whatever the bullies say. Afterward, Kulin goes to the principal's office with Kibo to make an official complaint about bullying in school. Kibo knows what the outcome will be, but he still accompanies Kulin. The principal is troubled by his son refusing to graduate. Since Kulin's beauty gives him a chance to take Amanda to the prom, the principal wants them to do whatever the bullies say. That evening, Kulin and Kibo decide to complete the task the next day and get rid of the responsibility. Kibo is the first person who has shown kindness to Kulin, unrelated to his beauty. Although the day didn't go as planned, he is happy to have gained a friend. The next morning they go to the BBM school, where the girls smell the presence of the boys. They are strict about not allowing ugly boys to enter the school premises. Hence, when they notice Kulin wearing a helmet, the entire school asks him to take it off. In a climactic scene, Kulin takes the helmet off, and mayhem ensues among the girls. Poor Kulin. Only a few hours later, the news makes it to the television. Clips of girls crying, bleeding through their noses, getting possessed, and jumping around are being shared all around social media. Kulin starts being known as the too handsome to handle.
I'm using Opera as my browser. So, yeah. Also, I'm not in full screen. I'm just, in OBS, I just selected my Minecraft window. So, it's not actually full screen. It's just, like, only streaming Minecraft. But I have Opera as my browser, and it allows the picture-in-picture thing. And I just, like, put that as, like, my top source for OBS.
Guy. The hottest student of the BBM school and model named Amanda also hears the news and is instantly smitten with Kulin. He is the first guy who matches in beauty and status with her. She immediately makes it her mission to impress him. When the news becomes huge, a crowd of girls gathers in front of the mass residence. The family starts charging them money for a house tour. Kulin, who is hiding in the streets, sees his family on the news. He feels betrayed and used by his own people. When they call him, he refuses to come home and feels even sadder when his pet fish is mishandled and killed by the tourists. He is now on the roof of a building hiding from the maniacs, chasing him in the streets. Suddenly, a girl appears behind him and inquires if he is going to jump off the roof. Kulin looks at her in shock because she doesn't bleed from her nose or pass out upon seeing him. The girl refuses to talk and simply walks away. Kulin is so nervous that he can hardly speak. The encounter makes his day a lot better. A while later, he calls Kibo, who picks him up and invites him to his home. He and his grandmother welcome Kulin to stay for as long as he wants. On walking into Kibo's room, he sees 2 rare collectible playing cards and is amazed by them. They realize that they share several common interests, and playing card collection is one of them. The following day, they visit the all-girls school to look for the girl from yesterday. While they are at it, they
That's
also
so
meet
real.
Amanda.
That's so real. Yeah, I don't know. I just picked this movie because I saw it and it was like Too Handsome He Wears. The title is Too Handsome He Wears Helmet to School to Avoid Shocking the Girls, and I was like, oh, this will be funny. So yeah. And I'm bored as fuck because of there's like nothing to do in Finnegan besides farm, so this is how I'm like not fully wasting my time.
And give her the files of the promposal sent by CD. Amanda pretends to be unimpressed by Kulin's beauty, but after he leaves, her nose bleeds profusely. Kulin sees his crush on the stairs, but the other girls surrounding him do not allow him to meet her. For the next few days, Kibo and Kulin do everything together and become best friends. One afternoon, Kibo takes Kulin to play futsal, where he frequently goes to meet his crush, Riri. After the match, Kulin notices the girl from the roof working at a shop nearby. He cannot help but stare at her. Just then, Kibo arrives and introduces Riri to him. Kulin discovers that she is also Kibo's crush, who he was talking about earlier. The two seem to be pretty close, which makes Kulin jealous. He can hardly fall asleep that night because the feeling is new and confusing to him. Then, he remembers Okus is a love guru and fixes a meeting with him. When they meet the following morning, Okus breaks down crying tears of happiness. He has been waiting for this day to give his brother advice on girls. Kulin has forgiven his family for selling him out to his fans, because if that had not happened, he would never have met Riri. The brothers then go shopping for groceries, while Okus lists out the points of things Kulin should do to impress his crush. As Kulin follows Okus's suggestions, he registers he is far from knowing Riri like Kibo knows her, but he still doesn't want to give up on his first love. One afternoon, Amanda comes to the boys' school and hands Kulin an invitation for her birthday. Alongside it, she also gives him a phone as a gift. Later that day, Kibo, Kulin, and Riri go to karaoke. Eventually, Riri and Kulin get to sing together. While Kulin is excited to duet with her, Riri only focuses on Kibo. He soon registers that she also likes Kibo back. The revelation makes his heart crumple in jealousy. So, when Kibo is not around, he bluntly asks her if she has a crush on him. Initially, Riri denies it, but when Kulin lies about Kibo being in love with Amanda, her face drops. Her expression is enough to confirm his suspicions. After returning home, Kulin calls Amanda and asks her for a favor. She happily agrees to do anything he says. The next day, several people gather at the venue to celebrate her birthday. When Kulin and Kibo arrive, Amanda welcomes them. Strangely enough, she seems to be more interested in Kibo than in Kulin. She even pulls him aside to talk to him in private. At the same time, Riri arrives at the party and sees Amanda kissing Kibo. Heartbroken, she runs outside. Taking advantage of her vulnerability, Kulin confesses his feelings for her. Riri thanks him, but claims that she never saw him as someone more than a friend. Even after conspiring against his only best friend, Kulin gets nothing in return. The group of bullies also see Amanda kissing Kibo and are enraged with jealousy and anger. They beat Kibo up for it while Kulin watches from nearby, too scared to interfere. Later, he brings Kibo home and dresses his wounds alongside his grandmother. Only after seeing him moan in pain does Kulin realize that he has made a huge mistake. The next day, Kibo gives him a legendary card from his card collection that Kulin had been wanting for a long time. Guilt-ridden, Kulin confesses to everything wrong he has done until now. Kibo is shocked and hurt by the betrayal. He claims that he would have left Riri if he knew Kulin liked her too. The words do nothing but hurt Kulin even more. At last, Kibo orders him to get out of the house immediately. Knowing that he is in the wrong, Kulin simply leaves. He finally returns home after a month. His family is overjoyed, but the same cannot be said for Kulin. He locks himself in his room and doesn't talk to anyone. But most of all, he misses his best friend. The two bump into each other at times, but never share anything more than a glance. At home, Kulin's mother is worried about his well-being.
This is a lesson for everyone. Always bros before hoes. Alright, back to the movie.
She approaches him one night and gives him his pet fish that never died. She also tells him that he can go back to being homeschooled if that is what he prefers. The family only wants his happiness and is ready to do anything for it. Kulin, touched by her words, realizes that he has people in his life who are rooting for his success. This motivates him to make things right between him and Kibo. The next morning, he runs to Riri and tells her everything. Following that, he goes to Kibo and tries to apologize. Although Kibo dismisses him at first, when asked about Riri, he starts to describe how much he loves her. Kulin shows him that Riri was listening to him on the phone the entire time. That way, he mends their relationship and goes back to being both of their friend. A few days later, they all go to prom together. Kibo's date is Riri, while Kulin's date is Amanda. Whatever happened to that bully, CD? Who cares? As expected, Kulin and Amanda win the title of prom king and queen. Kulin hears a girl comment that he is only mildly handsome and is instantly drawn to her, indicating the start of a new relationship. Subscribe for more videos.
That is a what the fuck? He's attracted to people who don't like him or like don't like him that much, huh? All right, next movie. Fuck.
Hi, Mr. Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain a Thai comedy youth drama film called Ugly Duckling Series. Don't. Spoilers ahead. Watch out, and take care. Mei Nam is an extremely shy and insecure teenage girl who wears a box over her head at all times. She suffers from a strange condition that causes her to hate her own face. She genuinely believes that she is the ugliest person to exist on the planet and has to be hidden from people. In fact, she hasn't looked at herself in the mirror for over 3 years and has not stepped outside the house either. Mei Nam lives with her brother, Plawan, and her father, Mr. Bon, who are always worried about her. One evening, Plawan returns home with a bruised elbow and admits to shoplifting. To save himself from getting in trouble, he diverts his father's attention to his
Let me see. There we go.
his sister, being a total psycho. Because of her condition, Mei Nam also gets frequent panic attacks and has difficulty breathing when she is anxious. Plawan's comment hurts her, making it difficult for her to breathe. Mr. Bon, who has gotten used to her reactions over the past years, helps her calm down. Mei Nam then narrates the story of her life in her blog about how she became an ugly duckling. It may be surprising to people that for the first 13 years of her life, Mei Nam was like any normal person. She had friends, a social life, and was confident about herself. But then, in middle school, she fell in love with the most handsome boy in her class. She was so head over heels for him that one day, she confessed her love in front of everyone. However, to her dismay, the boy did not reciprocate her feelings. Instead, he threw her gift to the ground and called her the ugliest girl ever. He even asked her to wear a bag over her head, declaring her face to be a jump scare. All of her classmates followed the guy's lead and called her ugly. The incident was so traumatizing for the poor girl that she shut out from everyone around her and refused to go to school again. Mr. Bond tried his best to convince her otherwise, but upon realizing that she is facing a real problem, he let her get homeschooled. After the incident, Mei Nam didn't look at herself in the mirror for a year and didn't go outside at all. That is, until one day she was outside the house trying to retrieve a stuck balloon. A stranger approached and offered her help. Mei Nam immediately put a paper bag over her head to hide her face. At that moment, she realized that the most confidence she feels is when her face is covered. The position of the bag felt just right, almost as if she had found her soulmate. And, hence, since that day, she has never shown her face to anyone. Eventually, the bag turned into a box because it was more sturdy. Her family gets a glimpse of her face sometimes, but Mainam prefers to stay hidden, even from them. She hardly allows herself to look into the mirror. Mainam enjoys most of her time by anonymously talking to people on social media. She feels more in place online, since no one can see each other's faces.
She's a Discord
The next
bot.
day, Mr. Bond goes to her doctor and asks for an instant cure for her sickness. The doctor clarifies that Mainam is not sick. She has a strange condition famously known as hikikomori in Japan. It mainly affects adolescents or young adults who live isolated from the world, locked in their bedroom for days, months, or even years,
Discord mods.
refusing to communicate with anyone. According to the doctor, Mainam's case is not that serious because she still talks to her family, which means she has a chance of socializing with other people if she is forced to go out. Her only problem is that she is scared. The doctor advises Mr. Bond to get his daughter out before she cuts off her family as well. At dinner, Mainam uses a straw to eat, refusing to take the box off. In a heavy voice, Mr. Bond asks his children to listen to him carefully. The siblings do not let him talk and assume either he has cancer or he is gay. Mr. Bond puts down both claims and reveals that he wants Mainam to go to school with her brothers, starting tomorrow. Mainam thinks he is joking and retaliates, as he had expected, but this time, Mr. Bond doesn't give in to her stubbornness and is adamant about his decision. Even Plawan is surprised by his father's persistence. Mainam declares that she hates him and storms off to her room. She cries for the next hour, nervous about tomorrow. She is certain that everyone will bully her for the box. Still, she prefers being bullied to being called ugly. To make her feel better, Plawan brings her a new box to replace the old one and offers to help her decorate it. Following that, she takes off the box for the first time and reveals her face that is anything but ugly. Plawan assures her that he won't let people make fun of her, but it doesn't make her feel better. Then, the siblings decorate the new box for Mainam. The following morning, Mr. Bond drives his children to school. While Plawan gets out of the car and walks in, Mainam starts to hyperventilate under the box. Mr. Bond plays calming music to help her and motivates her to go in. Mainam apologizes for saying mean things to him last night and thanks him for trying to help her. As soon as she leaves, Mr. Bond also breaks down crying, worried for his daughter. Mainam holds her breath and finally walks into the school. The big bright box on her head does not go unnoticed. Everyone starts to point at her and whisper, which makes her panic even more. Their laughs remind her of the day she was humiliated all those years ago. Mainam gets dizzy and is about to pass out, but a guy comes to help her right on time. He also has a helmet on, which makes her feel a bit better. The guy introduces himself as Minton, but she gets nervous and runs away. While she is at it, she accidentally bumps into the school's most popular guy, Zero. He and his group of friends ask her to take the box
Zero.
off, curious about her looks. When Mainam refuses to do so, they surround her and try forcing it off. They are stopped by Minton, who takes off his helmet and reveals his face. Zero and Minton stare at each other in anger and decide to solve the conflict outside school. Minton then holds Mainam's hand and takes her away. In the following scene, she is nervously standing in front of the class. The teacher has been told about her condition, so she requests the students to respect her privacy. But being typical teenagers, they start to bully her, urging her to show them her face. Minton is also in the same class and is angered by his classmates' behavior. Mainam quietly walks to the last seat and stays with her head down most of the time. During the lunch break, she goes to the cafeteria looking for her brother, but cannot find him anywhere. The students do not stop staring and talking about her. A pair of guys see her eating with the box on her head and force her to take it off. Everyone sees them bullying her, but laughs instead of helping. Eventually, Mainam leaves her food unfinished and runs outside crying. When she is alone in the playground, Minton suddenly appears beside her. He is wearing a helmet, which she thinks is to mock her for her box. Minton clarifies that he just likes the way he looks with the helmet. He then shares his sandwich with her because she couldn't eat earlier. Mainam feels a lot more comfortable talking to him after that. They joke around and laugh, but then she says that she won't be coming to school the next day. Minton declares that he is her friend and urges her to come, even if it's only for him. After school, Minton and the bully Zero meet as they had promised. They get into a verbal altercation because of their differences. Minton insults Zero for always walking around with his minions and challenges him to a one-on-one fight. Zero takes it and steps forward after asking his friends to stay back. Minton lands the first punch, but Zero fights back with an equally powerful blow. Maynam is making her way back home when she witnesses them wrestling. Suddenly, the police arrive, and the guys have to separate. Zero sees her on his way out and pulls her along with him. After running off to a quiet area, he forces the box off her head. In a climactic scene, he lays eyes upon her face and is left speechless at the sight. But Maynam thinks that he is staring at her because she is ugly. The memories of her past trauma keep playing in her head, and she passes out. When Maynam finally wakes up, she finds herself in the hospital bed without her box. She immediately starts to panic and has to be given a face mask to calm down. Her father is very sorry that he forced her to go to school. He blames himself for getting her hospitalized and allows her to stay home as she wanted. To everyone's surprise, Maynam declares that she wants to return to school only because she wants to take revenge on Zero for forcing her to take the box off. The following day, Zero is on his own, thinking about Maynam. He is confused as to why she would cover up her face when she is so beautiful. Just then, Maynam arrives and slaps him in the face for what he did yesterday. When his minions try to get close to her, Zero stops them. He yet again tries to take her face mask off, but is stopped by Minton. They get into another fight because of her, but she stops them both and brings them aside. By now, news about the two handsome guys fighting for the boxhead girl has circulated around the school. Maynam yells at the guys for making her life even more difficult. When Minton says he only wanted to help her, Zero laughs. He is sure that Minton is attracted to her like he is. Minton also senses that Zero is trying to get with Maynam and asks him if it is true. A flustered Zero denies it, calling Maynam ugly. The comment reminds her of her trauma and makes her fall unconscious again. Minton helps her while Zero is left behind, jealous. The next day, Maynam goes back to her insecure phase. She refuses to come out of her room or talk to anyone. Mr. Bon and Ploan are discussing what they can do to help her when someone calls them from outside their house. Zero has come to apologize to Maynam for his mistake, but Ploan refuses to let him in, accusing him of sending Maynam back to the spiral of depression. The next morning, Minton comes to cheer her up, but she refuses to let him inside her room. Upon his repeated requests, she wears a face mask and meets him. To her surprise, he has made a duck box that she can use to cover her face. Maynam cannot help but burst out laughing at the sight. He has also made a duck helmet for himself. They wear their respective headgear and go to start a band called Daft Punk. Actually, they just eat together. Minton promises to take care of her and convinces her to come back to school. The next morning, he drives her to school with him. When Maynam is alone, Zero approaches her and tries to apologize, but Ploan disturbs them and sends him away. Later, during class, a girl named Ozone approaches Maynam and asks her for a favor. It turns out that a rumor about Maynam and Zero dating has been circulating around the school. Since he might listen to her, Ozone wants Maynam to stop him from bullying people. Maynam denies having anything to do with him and storms away. Even during the lunch break, a crowd of people ask her for similar favors, but she turns them all down. But then, she is informed that Zero is beating up her brother. On running to check up on him, she finds Zero's friends beating him to the ground. Zero makes them stop and claims that Ploan started the fight. A furious Maynam calls him out for being a thief who bullies weak students for money and homework. Zero looks at his minions in disbelief because he had ordered them to never bully someone weaker than them. When Maynam asks him to stop hurting people, he in turn urges her to take her box off. If she does so, he promises to never use violence for personal gain. With no other way to help everyone, Maynam takes the box off and reveals her face. Everyone is shocked at the sight. Later, she hugs Minton, crying that everyone saw her today. He is surprised to see her for the first time, but focuses on calming her instead. Later at home, Ploan shows her all the comments under a picture someone posted of her. Although the comments are positive, it doesn't convince Maynam that she is beautiful. Then, she enters her room and sees the window is open. Zero appears out of nowhere and asks her to be quiet. He apologizes for calling her ugly and admits that she is in fact the most beautiful girl he has ever seen. After he leaves, his words keep on repeating in Maywan's mind. She asks her internet friend to look at a picture of her on the school's page. When the friend gushes about how cute she looks, Maenam finally realizes that they must be telling the truth. For the first time in more than 3 years, she brings out a mirror and discovers that she is actually beautiful. She almost does not believe her eyes. The following day, Maenam goes to school without the box. All the students stare at her and gossip, but this time, they are not making fun of her, but are rather admiring her beauty. Although nervous, Maenam is ready to start a new life with confidence she never had before. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications,
Bro, who
and
does
leave
she
a
get
like.
with in the end? That's such a scam. Alright, next one.
Hi, Mystery Recapped here. Today, I am going to explain an action drama comedy film called Big Brother. Spoilers ahead. Watch out
I feel like
and
I've seen
take
the trailer
care.
for this.
Henry has returned to Hong Kong after serving in the US military for years. Looking to start a career as a teacher, he goes to his former school, Tak Chi Secondary. The principal notes that he doesn't have experience in teaching, but after being shown a recommendation letter from a higher official, he is given the job. Before Henry leaves, the principal informs him that the class he is assigned to teach is one of the worst in the school. The morning of his first day at school, Henry walks into the class to see that it is in absolute chaos. Some students are sleeping, others are singing, some are playing video games, while a good number of them are cooking ramen on a portable stove. Even after the teacher walks in, they completely ignore him and continue what they are doing. Henry tries to get their attention, but they pretend to not hear him. He gives up on trying to divert their attention and goes around the classroom commenting on the things they are already doing. The students who are cooking are asked to eat less ramen because it contains too much sodium. Henry then approaches a guy named Zufa playing ukulele and helps him with it. Similarly, he warns a gamer kid against the radiation he might receive from staring at the screen all day. Geez, if that's a real thing, then it's too late for all of us anyway. When the students finally start listening to him, he introduces himself and writes his name and phone number on the board. The students laugh because his handwriting is ugly. Then, someone from the students calls him and asks him to leave the class, but Henry laughs it off. The kids ignore him yet again and continue with the activities they were doing before his arrival. Having enough of it, Henry uses a rubber band and piece of chalk to trigger the fire sprinkler in the room. The students quickly spread out to keep themselves from getting wet. He finally gets their full attention and officially welcomes them to his class.
Welcome to my class!
After class, a group of 5 lowest-ranking students gathers in the sports supply room to smoke. The leader of the group, Jack, has a crush on an A-grade student from another class. The others find him staring at her picture and make fun of him. The group has a rivalry with the rich and spoiled kids from the school's basketball team. They enter the supply room and mock Jack, as usual, because he is poor. Later, the basketball team is practicing, while Jack and the group watch them from nearby. Jack drops a bottle on the court, which causes the team leader to fall. The group laughs, but is given detention by the school's English teacher, Miss Liang. To avoid detention, they play a prank on her and run away when she is busy cleaning her desk. Elsewhere, the school's principal is distressed because the education board is planning to deduct 20% of their annual funding. The people from the board come to take a tour of the school to inspect where the funds are being used. At the same time, Henry enters the classroom where the students have set up a bucket of water to prank him. But his reflexes work faster than the falling bucket, and he is able to push it away. The students who had been waiting to make fun of him are left shocked. Henry asks for Jack's packet of cigarettes, knowing that he smokes. Jack simply hands him the pack, curious as to what he is about to do. Then, Henry asks Zufa to name the 3 ingredients that are in a cigarette. When he answers the question correctly, he is allowed to skip class for the day. Everyone starts to bang on their desks, demanding that they should get to skip class as well. When they stop, he hands them all a cigarette and asks them to analyze it. Henry knows that if he simply mentions the effect it has on their health, they won't take it seriously. So, instead, he asks them about the outcomes of smoking cigarettes and explains how tar forms in their lungs. For the first time, they pay attention to the teacher and are actually interested in learning. After the bell rings, he asks them to return the cigarettes, and the students reluctantly agree. That day, in the cafeteria, the captain of the basketball team makes one of Jack's friends, Bruce, trip on his leg. This gives rise to an argument between the groups, which soon turns into a fight. They throw food and tables at each other, destroying the place. Later, Henry is informed that 5 students from his class have been temporarily suspended for starting the fight. Henry finds Jack fighting his opponent in the hallway and stops them. On being asked to calm down, Jack accuses the school of being unfair because the rich kids get no punishment. That day, after school, Henry goes through the files of all 5 students to find out more about them. The first guy is named Zufa, the son of a Pakistani immigrant who is always discriminated against because of his race. He is often accused of stealing by the policemen in his neighborhood. Zufa's only wish in his life is to become a musician. The second student is a girl named Dinan. She was a disappointment to her father ever since her birth because he always wanted a son. Her entire life, Dinan has been trying to gain her father's respect. She even cut her hair to a shorter length and played with cars to pretend to be a boy. Yet her father doesn't care about her, while he treats her younger brother like a prince. Then there are brothers named Bruce and Chris. Their mother ran away with a man when they were only kids, which turned their father into an alcoholic. The brothers only had each other to rely on while growing up. Bruce became obsessed with video games to escape reality, while Chris worked hard in a grocery store to make money for the family. Lastly, Henry can find no information about Jack's family background. In the following scene, we see Jack working at a restaurant as a waiter. An MMA bettor, Jian Ying, arrives at the restaurant with his business partners. When Jian Ying isn't looking, Jack steals his fancy lighter, but is caught. Jian Ying's men beat him up as he checks Jack's ID. After finding out that he is a student, he gives some money and offers him a job as their food delivery man. Somewhere else, Henry visits Zufa's home and finds him running away from his father and his associates after stealing a ticket. He helps him at first, but after finding out why he is being chased, he takes the father's side. Then, he and Zufa come to hang out at a bridge. To motivate Zufa into doing whatever he wants, Henry sings with a band performing in the streets. Seconds later, Zufa joins him and sings in front of people for the first time since being bullied at school years ago. Meanwhile, Bruce and Chris's father comes home late, like always, and orders them to bring him a beer from the store. When the brothers refuse, he yells at them to get out of his house. The next day, Henry meets with their father and convinces him to go to rehab for his son's well-being. In the meantime, Dinan's father brings her a bag of makeup products and asks her to act like a girl for once. Dinan is furious at him for always making her feel like she is not good enough. She applies the makeup on her younger brother and sneaks out of the house with the car key. She is about to drive away in her father's car, but is stopped by Henry at the right moment. He tells her that driving without a license is illegal and suggests an alternative. Following that, they go to a go-kart racetrack. Henry also invites her father and makes them race. The father and daughter show no mercy to each other during the race and eventually end up outside the track. Suddenly, Dinan's go-kart is hit by a vehicle, but she manages to dodge it. Unaware of this, her father cries, mourning his daughter's death. Dinan realizes that he does in fact love her and hugs him. The next day at school, Bruce and Chris, along with a group, are sent to a rehabilitation center to interview a recovering alcoholic. They are surprised to see that the person they have to interview is their father. The students ask him how he started to drink. The man answers that he loved his wife dearly, but she left him at the lowest point of his life. Hence, he started to drink and forgot that he had 2 kids to take care of. The man doesn't reveal that Bruce and Chris are his sons, but apologizes to them. By the end of it, the brothers are left crying. Somewhere else, Jack has started to work for the MMA bettor, Jian Ying. He offers Jack a lot of money to drug a fighter's drink in the next game. Jack is reluctant, but is forced into accepting the offer. On the day of the fight, Jian Ying sponsors a fighter, but bets money on his loss. Jack puts drugs in the fighter's drink, but is caught while doing so. Before he can blame Jian Ying, he is beaten up and locked inside a locker. A while later, Henry arrives there and asks the fighters if they have seen his student. The men ask him to return home, but Jack, from inside the locker, yells for help. After finding out he is being trapped, Henry attacks them and overpowers them easily. When the fighters step in, it gets a bit intense, but Henry dodges their attacks efficiently. By the end of it, he knocks out their best fighter, who is supposed to compete in a few minutes. In the following scene, they are at a hospital where Henry gets treated for his wounds. Jack tries to reveal the truth about Jian Ying, but is made to shut up. The news makes it to the television, and Henry starts being known as the man who beat up a professional fighter to save his student. His popularity in school grows, and the students start to respect him. They even get up to welcome him to the class, in contrast to how they were earlier. A flashback shows us that Henry used to be a prankster when he was in school. He even threw water balloons at a student who was playing piano for the parents in an event. Later, he fought the same student and broke his hand. He was suspended for the fight, after which he had to fly to the States. Starting that day, the students pay attention when Henry teaches in class and study hard for the upcoming college entrance test. Everyone is doing great, except Bruce, who has grown addicted to pills. It turns out that while Charlie turned to video games to avoid his family's problem, Bruce started doing drugs. Because he is unfocused, he does very badly in the mock entrance test. Henry promises to help him, but Bruce grows more depressed with time. Eventually, he jumps off the balcony of his house. He is rushed to the hospital and goes into a coma. The media twists the news and blames it on the school and Henry for what Bruce did. The officials from the education board interview Henry and decide to revoke his teaching license. When he packs his things and leaves the school, the students chase him, asking him to stay. They are heartbroken by his absence, but they know that they should ace their upcoming test to make him proud. From that day on, they study twice as hard to prove to the board that Henry is a good teacher. On the day of the test, Jack, along with all of his classmates, get a text from Henry asking them to meet in the school an hour before the exam. When the students gather, they find out that it was Jian Ying's trick to keep them confined in the school so they won't make it to the examination hall on time. He is doing this to teach Henry a lesson. A while later, Henry arrives at school and finds out about Jian Ying's plan. He lets the students free and fights all of Jian Ying's people to stop them from harming the children. They escape and quickly make their way to the examination hall, while Henry fights Jian Yang. While they are fighting one-on-one, Jian Ying reveals that he was the guy who Henry had thrown water balloons at when he was little. It turns out that ever since Henry broke his arm, he wasn't able to compete in a big music competition. Ever since the incident, he hasn't touched a piano and blames Henry for ruining his dream. Henry tries to reason with him, but is attacked yet again. They struggle to get a hold of a knife. At last, Henry gets in a chase to kill him, but doesn't do it. He asks for forgiveness for what he did when he was little, and walks away. The students reach the examination hall at the right time and complete the test. Cut to a few weeks later. They all pass with flying colors. Jian Ying starts to play the piano again, but has a lot to practice before he gets as good as he used to be. Bruce recovers quickly and promises to attend the next year's entrance test. The principal is also delighted because the board decides to give them a 20% bonus fund because their students did very well in the entrance test. Henry returns to teaching and does the fire sprinkler trick on another batch of students. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. At the start of the movie, we are introduced to a young man named Bong. Bong is extremely talented at cooking and is the youngest chef in Blue House, which is the official residence of the South Korean Prime Minister. That evening, Bong learns that the house is throwing a dinner party for a Chinese ambassador. The ambassador is extremely sensitive to fish bone, so Bong is instructed to prepare a delicious fish dish with no bones. Bong heeds their instruction and immediately starts preparing the dish. At nightfall, the dinner is ready and served to the ambassador. Sadly, as soon as the envoy bites the fish, he finds a hook in it. This puts Bong in a serious dilemma, as several guards search the mansion to find him. In the following scene, a pair of police officers investigating the incident arrives at Bong's apartment and knocks on his door. Bong knows that he's in trouble, so he tries to escape through the balcony, while the officers try their best to catch him. In the process, Bong unfortunately plunges into a pool below, smacking his head on the bottom of the pool. For some reason, he keeps falling, as a woman swims towards him and plants a kiss on his lips. When Bong wakes up, he finds himself on a strange bed in an even stranger room. Bong feels something is wrong, and immediately immediately rushes to a nearby mirror. His reflection surprises him as Bong discovers that he has become a woman. He contemplates for a second, but finalizes that he must be dreaming due to the fall. Bong creeps out of the room to figure out what's going on, but finds dozens of women outside who bow and refer to her as Your Highness. Surprised by this, Bong runs outside the building, but suddenly feels cold in her crotch. This is when Bong realizes that she has lost her banana. Bong is horrified by this, and initially believes that she's been trafficked into a sex change operation. However, when she observes her surroundings, Bong discovers that she time traveled to the past. The realization causes her to go into shock, and she's eventually brought back to the palace. The next day, Bong wakes up and learns her current identity from a maid. It turns out that she time traveled to the Joseon dynasty in the year 1851. Moreover, she now lives inside the body of Kim So-young, a royal ward. To make matters worse, Bong discovers that Kim is scheduled to marry King Cheoljong and become queen in the next few days. The maid also explains that her body was found floating on a lake after an unknown accident occurred. Luckily, the guard found her and brought her back to the palace. Hearing this, Bong theorizes that both him and Kim's spirits must have switched and infers that the ticket back home is the lake. Bong asks the maid to lead him to the lake as he plans to jump in and return to the present. Sadly, her plan to jump takes an unexpected turn as she lands on muddy ground. It turns out that the Grand Queen ordered the palace servants to drain the lake overnight to prevent anyone from falling into the water again. Bong is disheartened by the news, but still reckons that water is the answer. So she desperately tries to submerge herself in any water source she can find. She even goes as far as inserting her head in a pail of water that is used to clean the floors. However, all her efforts prove in vain. A few days later, the wedding day arrives. Bong is unaware of the dynasty's customs, but with the help of her handmaids, manages to complete the required wedding rites. That night, Bong, who is now queen, is invited to the king's chambers to sleep with him. Bong is horrified by the thought and offers the king some alcohol in hopes of him passing out. Fortunately, the king falls to sleep, much to Bong's relief. The following day, Bong wakes up with a hangover and is offered some food. However, she is disgusted by the soggy meal and passes a message to the royal chef to cook ramen instead. The chef is confused by the term, but tries to make the foreign meal based on Bong's instruction. The chef tries multiple times to make the dish, but Bong is dissatisfied with every attempt. The first dish is too healthy, while the subsequent dishes are too bland and spicy. Eventually, the chef becomes upset and gives up. Asking Bong to cook it herself. Bong, who still remembers her culinary techniques, decides to prepare the dish herself, which is pretty sweet because she could have had that cook killed for that lip. Bong enters the royal kitchen and immediately picks up a knife. Her maid is worried because the queen has never attempted to cook since her childhood. Hence, the maid, alongside the other servants, expect her to make a mess of the kitchen. However, Bong starts cutting the vegetables with great speed and precision, much to the servants' surprise. She cuts everything perfectly and at the right size, ultimately cooking a perfect dish. Bong takes the ramen back to her chambers and enjoys the meal with her right-hand maid. Back at the kitchen, the chef is envious of Bong's cooking abilities and proposes that the food simply looks good but doesn't taste nice. To test his theory, the royal chef tries the leftovers remaining in the pot. However, as soon as he has a bite, he is amazed with how good it is, so much so that he even drops his damn spoon. After the eventful encounter, Bong suddenly comes up with an idea. The new queen realizes that she can easily win over the royal family with her culinary skills. The lake was drained by the Grand Queen, so if Bong can please her with some food, she might agree to refill the lake. Bong instantly returns to the kitchen, but the jealous royal chef asserts his authority and refuses to let her inspect the food being served to the Grand Queen. Bong is pissed at this and challenges him to a speed cooking contest. The royal chef initially backs out from the fight, but accepts the challenge after Bong teases him. A servant rings a bell and the contest begins. The head chef takes his knife and viciously cuts a bunch of carrots. However, the queen's hands are faster and quickly cuts some cucumbers with ease. After several minutes of cooking, Bong's dish is ready and she is the first to ring the bell, thus winning the contest. The royal chef is upset and argues that though speed is important, taste is the ultimate test of a chef. Confident, Bong agrees and requests the royal cuisine inspector to taste both dishes to see which which is better. The inspector is fascinated by Bong's cuisine and declares it is the better dish, prompting her to take charge of the royal kitchen. Bong uses her newly acquired status to her advantage as she analyzes the Grand Queen's meals. Bong discovers from her food choices that the Grand Queen is a picky eater due to her recent development of toothache. Thus, Bong decides to make a meal with a soft texture for the aristocrat. Bong gets to work right away and begins making a potato porridge. First, she pours some milk into the pot and adds the right ingredients as she occasionally tastes the mixture. Then the potatoes are eventually added to the pot, after which the dinner is served with some flour toppings for a cohesive presentation. Bong is pleased with the final product and delivers it to the Grand Queen herself. The Queen greatly enjoys the meal, but highlights that the dish is not perfect as it arrived cold. The temperature change is caused by the perfectly mashed potatoes to lump, hence slightly altering the taste. Also, the porridge spilled on the sides of the plate also affected the presentation. Bong is distraught to hear this and sadly begins her trip back to the palace. While in her carriage, Bong brainstorms on the alternative means of delivering food to the Grand Queen. Shortly after, she comes up with a stellar idea. Bong sews a cloth and has her maid deliver the fabric alongside some instructions to the royal engineers. With Bong's direction, the engineers construct a special food delivery carriage that is properly insulated at all sides by the cloth. Meanwhile, Bong prepares an array of tasty meals and has the servants deliver them using the newly designed cabinet. The Grand Queen receives the meal hot and enjoys it, leaving no leftovers. Eventually, the engineers return to Bong and deliver the good news, as the invention is proven to be a success. A few days later, the king organizes a huge banquet and invites delegates from all over the country. Unfortunately, the cooks get sick on the banquet day, and the royal kitchen is short-staffed. Bong notices this and decides to help out. She disguises herself as a man to sneak out from the banquet and enters the kitchen. Bong discovers that the pantry is low on ingredients, as the groceries which were meant to be delivered that day didn't make it. With limited resources, Bong has no choice but to get creative. The queen, alongside her housemaids, prepares a simple but unique dish of potatoes. Bong peels and wraps the potato around a stick and deep fries it, making it crisp and crunchy. The guests are initially unhappy when they see the first dish, as they expect something classier for a royal banquet. However, as soon as they try the unique meal, their eyes shine in approval as they marvel at its taste, and thus fast food was born. Bong's second dish is a bit more tasking, as there's no meat in the kitchen. She creatively decides to use beans to make a veggie burger with a tomato relish at the sides. Bong is pleased with her invention and names it McDonald's. Inspired by the modern McDonald's itself, the dish, just like the potato serving, is a smash hit as the guests savor the mouth-watering cuisine. For the final meal, Bong creates a classic jelly dessert, but with a twist. She writes special messages on the jelly sticks and calls them fortune jelly, as you get to read your fortune after you're done with the dessert. The guests enjoy the classic jelly and have fun reading their respective fortunes. Despite the initial hiccups, the banquet turns out to be a smash hit, thanks to Bong's cooking. The Grand Queen, who also attended the banquet, is impressed by Bong's skills and finally asks her to make a request. Without any hesitation, Bong asks her to refill the lake. The Grand Queen grants her request and commands the servants to start working on the job. Sadly, as it is the 19th century, there are no advanced machines to aid this task. Hence, the servants can only transport water manually with wooden buckets. The process is unbelievably slow, as the servants make a long trip from the town's well to the lake. Bong is annoyed by this and swiftly comes up with a new method. She asks each servant to stay at one spot and simply pass the bucket from one person to the other. The people are pleased with the system, as it makes the job easier and faster. They all continue the task and work on it patiently, while Bong oversees the lengthy process. Several days pass, but the lake is yet to fill. Bong soon gets tired of waiting and becomes desperate. Luckily, a heavy downfall begins, which slowly but gradually waters the lake. Bong is overjoyed by the weather change and dances ecstatically under the rain. A few hours later, the lake is filled, and Bong heads to the shores and signs her name on a cornerstone, after which she jumps into the lake and sinks underwater, just like she did at the start of the movie. When Bong wakes up, he is astonished to find himself in a hospital and sees an officer sleeping a few meters away from his bed. He quietly tries to slip out, but the officer wakes up and a swift chase ensues. Bong manages to get away from him, but two more officers show up and corner him. Desperate, Bong jumps down from a high platform, escaping the men as he races down the street. He immediately heads to a public library and searches for a history book. There, he finds a publication about the Joseon dynasty and smiles, knowing that he has now become a part of history. However, his nostalgic trip down memory lane is swiftly interrupted when the chasing officers arrive at the library. Bong tries to escape once again, but the officers explain that they aren't there to arrest him. It turns out that the present has been changed due to his time travel to the Joseon era. Now, he is not being chased by the police. Instead, they are there to protect him, as Bong is now a whistleblower and exposed a high-ranking official for corruption. Bong rushes to a nearby computer and searches the web to confirm their claims. Soon after, he discovers that they are telling the truth, as history and the present world has indeed changed. The movie ends with Bong standing on a street as he relays a positive message on how a small change in the past can greatly affect the future. Also, the life lesson that meals are always better with Bong. Subscribe for more videos like this, turn on notifications, and leave a like to help the channel out. Thank you for watching. At the beginning of the film, we are introduced to a wealthy businessman named Jin. He owns several businesses, most of which are restaurants. Jin is a culinary art enthusiast and is very particular about the food sold in his restaurants. He spends hours tasting dishes served by famous chefs to make them perfect. Through the years, he has developed a unique talent where he can tell what ingredients a dish is made of just by smelling it. One day, he goes to a 5-star hotel that he is looking to buy. The first dish he is served is the famous beef Wellington, which is a specialty of the head chef. Jin tries a bite and spits it out, saying that the type of mushroom used in the dish is wrong. Similarly, he is served a plethora of different dishes, all of which are the chef's specials. However, each of them has one drawback or another that dissatisfies him. By the end of the hour, the head chef runs out of ideas and feels helpless. The staff also has no clue how to impress someone as picky as Jin. This is when we are introduced to a young chef named Shang Nan. Although she is just an intern, her knowledge of worldwide culinary styles is impeccable, and she is soon to be promoted because of her talent. Even though they have only 20 minutes left before Jin leaves, Shang Nan takes the challenge to make him something he likes. None of the staff members think she can pull it off, but right after 20 minutes, Jin has a new dish on his table. When he smells the first whiff of the food, his eyes open wide. He recognizes it as the special Romani dish named spaghetti alla strega. Jin can even tell that the cook is a woman because the dish is passed down to females of Romani origin. The spices must be very carefully measured because it is a traditional dish that doesn't allow any personal spin on it. Shang Nan has made it exactly how it is supposed to be, which gains Jin's appreciation. He cleans the plate dry and decides to stay at the hotel for a few days to taste more of her dishes. The manager tells Shang Nan about Jin's comment, making her realize that he has a vast knowledge of food. She takes it as a challenge and is ready to blow his mind with her cooking. Shang Nan is also dating the restaurant's general manager. He takes advantage of her position and makes her cook food for him even on the days she is busy. One afternoon, after enjoying everything she made for him, he reveals that he wants to break up because she is too skinny for his liking. Shang Nan is heartbroken, but she knows there's no point in arguing. Later that day, Jin is on his way out when he notices her sitting on his car's hood. He doesn't recognize her as the chef since he's never seen her face. Shang Nan thinks the car belongs to her ex-boyfriend and scratches it to teach him a lesson. When Jin calls her out, she realizes she came to the wrong floor. She quickly apologizes and promises to paint it like new. At night, Shang Nan gets drunk and climbs on the roof. At the same time, Jin is making ramen in his room. He believes that even the 2-minute noodle is a difficult dish to make, since one has to measure the ingredients and time precisely. Just when he is about to take a bite, someone falls on his balcony. It is none other than the drunk Shang Nan, who has fallen from the roof. When she refuses to go out, Jin puts her into a suitcase and keeps her inside the elevator. She is found by 2 staff members who go into a frenzy, assuming that she is a dead body. In the following scene, Jin is locked inside a cell with other criminals. Shang Nan is outside explaining what happened to the policeman. A while later, Jin's assistant arrives and bails him out. Jin hopes to never meet Shang Nan again, but they cross paths the very next day. Shang Nan is helping some kids when she accidentally touches a beehive. The bees attack Jin, making his face swell. Having had enough of her, he gives her a watch that will alert him if she is near him. Shang Nan promises to run away as soon as she hears the alarm. Starting the next day, Jin orders several dishes to test the chef's talent. Shang Nan impresses him with every single dish, but Jin is still unaware that she is the same girl he wants to stay away from. With time, he starts ordering food that is not even on the menu. Shang Nan works until midnight and is very tired, but Jin doesn't show signs of exhaustion. Hence, she puts squid ink on one of the dishes, symbolizing that she is running away. Jin understands the message and stops ordering food for the night. He also sends her a letter asking her to be a good opponent instead of running away. The following day, Jin has to appear in an interview. The interviewer asks him questions about the suitcase scandal, making him uncomfortable. At the same time, Shang Nan finds out the picky client is none other than the same guy she has to stay away from. Scared that her watch will ring, she tries to run, but falls into the swimming pool. For the next meal, Jin wants Shang Nan to showcase her creativity. Instead of the name of the dishes, he sends her 3 themes that she is free to interpret however she likes. The themes are a time, a place, and a moment. For the first theme, Shang Nan makes extremely spicy seafood, indicating summertime. Jin has a hard time eating anything spicy, but is happy that she nailed the theme. The second one is the place. In this dish, Jin can smell rosemary, which reminds him of a lighthouse by the sea. He realizes it is a depiction of Shanghai. Then, for the last dish, she makes pork with matcha seasoning that Jin associates with the Japanese tea ceremony. He is beyond impressed by Xiangnan's talent, while Xiangnan is impressed that he could figure out exactly what she was trying to portray with each dish. For the dessert, she requests to make an original dish. It is a sweet cake made up of ingredients that are typically from the US, Canada, and the UK. These are the 3 places that Jin has lived in over the years, so he understands that it represents him. However, there is a truffle on the side that takes him by surprise. He asks the waiter to bring the chef so she can explain its meaning personally. Afraid to face him, Xiangnan sends the head chef outside with her message. He reveals that the truffle grows underground and eats everything around it to maintain its power. Xiangnan believes Jin is like a truffle, which is why she made it. Jin refuses to believe the head chef and goes looking for Xiangnan, but she runs away before he finds her. A while later, they bump into each other in the bathroom. Jin smells the scent of food from her and recognizes her as the chef who has been cooking for him. The following day at work, he turns off his watch and catches her cooking in the restaurant's kitchen. Xiangnan has to reluctantly admit that she is his chef. She also affirms that the truffle was to symbolize his arrogance. Jin gives it a thought and praises her for understanding him better than he understands himself. Later, he is in his room when he gets a call from his father, Mr. Liu. The man is so business-oriented that he frequently fails to be a father to Jin. Liu urges him to return to work, as he has spent a lot of time in a single hotel. The next morning, Jin calls the room service to order his first meal of the day. However, he is told Xiangnan is on sick leave. Not wanting to eat food cooked by anyone else, he goes straight to her apartment. He has even brought all the necessary ingredients so she can make the dish that he wants her to. Her home is messy, but Jin declutters and sets himself a table while she cooks. Xiangnan is still weirded out by his appearance, but she sits down with him to eat. To her surprise, he asks her to eat in the kitchen because he prefers eating alone. She curses him for being arrogant before doing as told. When she comes out a while later, she finds Jin taking a nap on her couch. He has a hard time falling asleep anywhere else, but for some reason, her couch is very comfortable. Jin wakes up hours later and finds Xiangnan sleeping on her bed. The next day, he comes again and makes her cook a different dish. After eating, he falls asleep again. On the 3rd day, he comes with a sheet to cover the couch to make it more comfortable. As the days pass, he starts bringing pajamas and his personal belongings. All this time, Xiangnan can hardly fall asleep because of his snoring, and has a hard time at work because of it. One afternoon, Jin allows her to eat with him, and the two enjoy a long meal together. They also eat blowfish for the first time, unaware that it makes people high. Soon, the two feel its effects and hallucinate that it is raining. They stay under an umbrella, even when indoors, and talk about several things that make no sense. A while later, they go out for a walk, still thinking that it is raining.